You can start on a 1 if you want. That'll give him time to upload both of these guys to share it to every channel. Just go 1 on me. Yes! Welcome to Drinkin Bros. Sunday nights. If you think there's any other entertainment on the planet going on right now, well, you're absolutely incorrect. Every sporting event has been canceled. Ohio has now shut down every bar and restaurant at 9 o'clock. So is Chicago, I believe, D'Anthony?
Yep.
Chicago. The only thing that is live, direct and in your face tonight is the Democratic debates between Bernie Crazy Sanders and Joe. God damn it! What's his last name? What's Biden?
Touchy.
He doesn't.
Biden.
Uncle Touchy.
No, he can't remember his last name these days.
His name is Uncle Touchy, and he runs a puzzle basement.
Yeah.
Uncle Touchy's puzzle.
Take a big fat sniff to whoever is sitting next to you on the couch. We are here to narrate and react to the Democratic debates live with you because, well, the end of the world is going to happen tomorrow, so why not get fucked up with us? It is down to Bernie versus Biden. Biden is in the lead with a slim margin right now. So Bernie's got to go all in tonight. The problem with Biden is this. He's got a cognitive disorder. Therefore, he's having a little problem with his speech. And now tonight, for the first time ever, he's going to be stuck on a stage for 2 hours live in front of the American public with everyone. Jared is already laughing.
Well, yeah, the first comment inside Drinkin Bros is the meme of the dude just sitting back with the
Eating popcorn now.
Let's see it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see it.
Oh, man. So we're here with you. Why not? We have nowhere else to be. We're all #team quarantined and chill right now. So that's where we're at. We've been getting fucked up all day.
I need some tape on this thing. It just keeps falling back.
Do you think so? Jamie come in and fix it for you, I think.
You know, it just is a
Jamie
come
in and fix it for you. A little
I just put in a piece of tape on there and it'll stop from like free flowing.
A little rotatey.
Yeah, a little tapey.
Yeah, either way.
We're just fixing up the kinks before we're live.
Exactly. Where was the bar you were drinking at tonight? Right behind our office?
Oh, it's right there. You can walk there.
That place is amazing,
I
right?
got it, my man. I know what to do.
Nah, I don't think he does.
You don't need that one.
That's what live is. Kids, at the bottom of the screen, we're counting down with CNN as we speak. This is the only place to watch the debate tonight, which is strange. I'm surprised primetime didn't have this debate going on ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox because they have zero programming to go against it tonight. But here we are. We're on CNN.
Fuck them.
Hey, the coronavirus helped someone this week, and they helped CNN's ratings. Because let's face it, they were in the fucking toilet. So we're going to be stuck with CNN, stuck with their broadcasters tonight. But the good thing about that is they're going to be stuck eating their own. CNN is as far left as you could possibly get. So they're going to watch their two candidates absolutely tear each other's throats out tonight and commentate it. So I'm kind of stoked that CNN has this tonight. Should be good. Should be fun. And we're gonna get started here in about a minute. D'Anthony, how do you think Joe's gonna do tonight?
I think he doesn't know where he is right now. Honestly, he's probably got to be like they had to pump him full of like B12 and
cortisone.
Like
you got a cortisone
something.
shot.
Seriously, he's
prednisone.
Just to keep that motherfucker standing up and aware. What's that ginkgo biloba? He's been freebasing that like out of a crack pipe all day.
Ricola. I bet he's having Ricola all night long. And hey, since we're live, we're going to be answering all your questions along. Love JT's shirt. JT, is that available on blackriflecoffee.com?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a bunch of new designs that Evan and Matt have been working on that are awesome. I've had a lot of feedback lately about the new half sleeve. Didn't you?
The baseball shirt.
Yeah, the baseball shirt.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
loves that
Dope,
thing.
dude.
People keeps writing in.
People like sports, Jared. Therefore, get on the fucking bandwagon.
They want to know. They want to know if you guys are going to be doing some bets on the debates since there's no sports.
You know,
I honestly think something weird is going to happen tonight. I think either it's going to be like Joe fakes an injury, or like you mean
like a soccer player?
Feeling,
he falls
yeah,
down?
he starts once he just starts getting demolished. Oh wait, here we go.
Oh,
here we
shit.
go.
We're live.
Here we go.
Let's hear it, Jamie. Let's hear it.
There are a Democratic debate
So, if you're at home right now, turn on CNN. That way you'll be live with us. So as we're commentating, you are actually hearing it live and vice versa. Pop this up on your phone, pop the other up on your TV, or you'll see it in the small screen. Or you can go large screen, Jamie. There you go, and put us in the small screen. That'll work. That'll work.
Currently leading Senator Sanders in the
Look at these two idiots.
He's winning.
You will have 90 seconds to
Turn
answer
CNN up a tad, Jamie.
45 seconds for responses and rebuttals. As much as we can, we hope this will be
That
a
works.
conversation.
That works perfect.
Between
We
the
talk
two
over
of
that.
you.
A drinking
let's
game
begin with
tonight.
the
The
most
drinking game
important
is that we're
issue
going to
right
drink
now,
and see what
the
happens.
coronavirus and what you
No,
will
the
do as
drinking game is how many times
in the
Biden
face
fucks
of
up
it.
tonight.
We'll take a drink
Vice
every time
President
he
Biden, let me
forgets
start with
something.
you. We're in
Yeah,
a reality
here we go.
right now
Oh,
that might have seemed
it's off.
unimaginable. A week ago, schools have been canceled for
Turn
more
up
than
a tad, Jamie.
25 million students. Grocery store shelves have been cleared out. March Madness, NBA games, Disney parks, Broadway, small businesses all shut down. And just today, the CDC issued a new recommendation that for the next 8 weeks, events that consist of 50 people or more throughout the U.S. be canceled or postponed. What do you say to the American people who are confronting this new reality?
First of all, my heart goes out to those who have
Oh, that coronavirus is creeping up
that was
on Joe.
right in there, huh?
This is bigger than any one of us. This calls for a national rallying to everybody move together. And, I laid out in detail what I would do if were I president today. You can go to joebiden.com, and I laid it out in
.com.
But there are three pieces of this. First of all, I have to take care
I
of
gotta
those
take notes.
who
You
in
gotta
fact
you
are
gotta you gotta go to
exposed or
joebiden.facts.
.org.
That means we have to do testing. We have to get the testing kits up and ready. I would have the World Health Organization. I'd take advantage of the test kits they have available to us. Even though the president says 1 million or more are coming, let's just get all the tests we can done as quickly as we can. Secondly, I would make sure that every state in the union had at least 10 places where they had drive-through testing arrangements. I would also, at this point, deal
10?
with the need to begin
10.
to plan for the need for
10
additional hospital
drive-throughs?
beds. We have that capacity in the Department of Defense, as well as with the
Whoopsies.
FEMA, and they can set up 100-bed, 500-bed hospitals in tents quickly. We have to lay all that out, but we have to deal with the economic fallout quickly. And that means making sure the people who, in fact, lose their job, don't get a paycheck, can't pay their mortgage, are able to pay it and pay them now and do it now.
Problem with
Small
that is
businesses
Ohio's
be able
going
to
through that
borrow
tonight.
interest-free
The
loans.
governor
I see my
waived the
time is up
unemployment
there.
from
You're
2
gonna hold
weeks
us tight
to
with that
now.
soon.
The
But
website
that's what I would
crashed
do. Go to
tonight.
joebiden.com.
So in the state of
It
Ohio,
lays out precisely what I would,
if you
what I would
found
do
out
were
that
I
you didn't have a
president.
fucking job as
Senator
of tonight at
Sanders,
9
this
p.m.,
morning, Dr. Anthony Fauci
Done.
acknowledged that it's possible
the website is crashed
that
for
hundreds
unemployment.
of thousands, if not millions of Americans, could die from the coronavirus in a worst-case scenario. If you were president right now, what's the most important thing you would do tonight to try to save America?
I'd whip out my
What
hog.
we've got to do, whether or not I'm president, is to shut this president up right now. Because he is undermining the doctors and the scientists who are trying to help the American
What?
people.
You mean the ones he
It's
had on stage with him
unacceptable
Yeah,
talking?
exactly.
Blabbering with unfactual information, which is confusing the general public. Second of all, what we need to do, and I'm glad that he has called a state of national emergency. What we have got to do is move aggressively to make sure
Both of them
that
sound sick
every
tonight.
person in this country
Ironically.
They also are very
finally
calm so
understands
far.
that when they get sick,
Give it-
We're in
give it-
question
yeah,
one.
give it a
Yeah,
minute.
Give it a minute.
that that all payments will be made, that they don't have to worry about coming up with money for testing. They don't have to worry about.
That is
coming up
right.
with
Somebody's
money
saying,
for
you know,
treatment.
Bernie needs to realize
This
at this
is an
point, opening with
unprecedented moment in
attacking the
American
president
history.
isn't
Now, I
working
honestly believe
because you're
in
you're
Medicare
you're
for all.
shutting down so
I
many
will fight
people
for that
right out
as
the gate.
president.
It's
But
Bio
right now,
Review who
in
said
this
that.
emergency,
No.
I want every person in this country to understand that when you get sick, you go to the doctor. When you get sick, if you have the virus, that will be paid for. Do not worry about the costs right now because we're in the middle of a national emergency. Second of all, we have to make sure that
Both
our
of them
hospitals
sound sick,
have the
man.
ventilators that they need, have the IC units that they need. Right now, we have a lack of medical personnel, and I worry very much that if there is a peak, whether we have the capability of dealing with the hundreds of thousands of people who may be in hospitals. So we need unprecedented action right now to deal with the unprecedented crisis. And bottom line, from an economic point of view, what we have got to say to the American people, if you lose your job, you will be made whole. You're not going to lose income. If Trump can put, or the Fed can put $1.5 trillion into the banking system, we can protect the wages of every worker in America.
Thank you, Senator. Vice President Biden, President Trump says he does not take any responsibility for the problems with coronavirus testing, in part because he says he inherited so many rules, regulations, and red tape.
The president.
Bureaucratic red tape
It had nothing to do with the fucking virus that come from China.
No, look, the World Health Organization offered the testing kits that they have available and to give
Agana,
it to us
you
now.
are here to listen to
We
us.
refused them.
So
We
deal
did not
with
want
it.
to buy them. We did not
Just
want to
be
get them
quiet,
from
guys.
them.
We're not here
We
to
wanted
listen to
make
you.
sure we
Fuck
had
off.
our own.
Yeah, you are. You're
Go
on our
go
channel.
put it on CNN if you want to
America.
fucking watch
Yeah,
it.
you're on our
Something to that
channel.
effect. The idea that we are not prepared for this and the other thing I want to point out, and I agree with Bernie, we're in a situation where we have to now be providing for the hospitals that are going to be needed now. The present system cannot handle the surge that is likely to come. So we should all.
They want the volume on the debate turned up, Jamie.
Turn the volume up on the debate, Jamie.
Jamie, could you turn the volume up on the
We can
debate?
do that. We did that. We've been through this before with
Piece
the
of shit.
coronavirus. We've been through this before. We've been through this before.
There's
with,
one.
Dealing with the virus.
Biden fucked up. Cheers.
Cheers.
As
Cheers, everyone.
well as what happened in Africa. We provided these hospitals dealing with these great pandemics, and we were able to do it quickly, and people would have a place to go. But we also have to provide the equipment to protect the
We
first
need
responders.
Nickelback and
that's
Three
not being
Doors
done
Down
either.
to come
Senator
up with
Sanders,
a We Are the World Part 2
on that
song.
note, and you both of you have addressed this, but obviously another major health concern right now for officials is the potential surge in patients all at once, overburdening hospitals, the healthcare system. You've mentioned ICU beds, both of you, and ventilators. We're already in the middle of flu season, so already a lot of those beds and ventilators are already being used. If you were president right now, what would you do to make sure every sick American is able to get treatment so the U.S. does not suffer the same fate as Italy, where doctors have to decide right now who gets life-saving treatment
and
and who does not.
let my
let's be honest
constituents use
and
it.
understand that this coronavirus pandemic exposes the incredible weakness and dysfunctionality of our current healthcare system.
Here's
Now, we're spending
the
twice
real
as much
question
per person
I would
in
love
healthcare
to
than
ask
people
right
of any
there.
other country.
Because
How in God's
he keeps
name
saying, hey,
does
if
it
you were
happen?
president,
We end
what
up
would
with
you do?
87 million
Bernie
people
Sanders is a
who
United
are
States
uninsured
senator.
or underinsured,
Hey, you're a
and there are
senator. What
people
have you been
watching
doing
this
in your
program
state
tonight.
What have you been doing?
other
Yeah.
than
Should I
go to the
campaigning to
doctor,
be
but I can't
president?
afford to go to the
What
doctor?
are you
What
doing
happens
right
if I
now
am
for
sick?
your state?
It's
Because
gonna
all
cost
this is
thousands of dollars
bullshit.
for treatment.
Like,
never asked
Who's
that.
gonna
You're
feed
right.
What
my
ifs?
kids?
You're
Like,
right.
why not say,
We are
hey,
the only
did you
major
put a
country
pause
on
on
earth not to
campaigning
guarantee
if this
healthcare
is
to
so
all people?
important to you?
Yeah.
Did you
We're
put a
spending so
pause
much
on
money, and yet
campaigning
we are not
to
even
help your
prepared
state
You're
out
helping
in this
state,
need?
pandemic.
Oh,
How
no,
come
you
we don't have
didn't?
enough
You
doctors?
wrote something
How
on your
come
website?
Hospitals in rural areas are shutting down.
Good job,
How
man.
come
Good
people can't
job.
afford to get the
Really,
prescription
really
drugs
doing
they
it.
need
Thoughts and
because we have
prayers.
a bunch of
Thoughts and
crooks
prayers.
who are running the pharmaceutical industry, ripping us off every single day. And I'll tell you something right now. In the midst of this epidemic, you got people in the pharmaceutical industry are saying, oh, wow, what an opportunity to make a fortune. So the word has got to go out, and I certainly would do this as president. You don't worry. People of America, do not worry about the cost of prescription drugs. Do not worry about the cost of the health care that you're
Everything's
going to
free.
get.
Yeah.
Because we are a
free
nation,
with
a
Bernie.
civilized, democratic.
I just want to go back to this guy,
Everyone, rich and
Ogana, who
poor,
said
middle class,
we should be
will get the
quiet.
care
They're not
they
here
need.
to listen
The
to
drug
us.
companies will not rip us off.
You can get
Thank you,
fucked.
Senator. Vice President Biden, some
Change the
medical
channel,
experts
bitch.
are saying the only true way to control this virus is through a national quarantine, requiring every American other than essential personnel to stay home. Would you take that unprecedented step of a national lockdown?
That's a great question, actually.
What I would do is what we did in our administration. I would call a meeting in the Situation Room of all the experts in America dealing with this crisis. I would sit them down and I would do exactly what we did then. What is it that we need? Listen to the experts. What do we need? And with all due respect to Medicare for All, you have a single payer system in Italy. It doesn't work there. It has nothing to do with Medicare for
it's
all.
true. Italy
That
is
would
shut
not
down.
Just
solve
got lit
the
up.
problem at all.
Quarantine.
Bernie,
as a
you
country.
Can
fucking
take
piece
care
of
that
shit.
right now by making sure that no one has to pay for treatment, period, because of the crisis.
Oh, we're
No one
starting
has
to
pay
heat
for
it up.
whatever
Yeah,
drugs
there
are
it
needed,
is.
period, because of the crisis. No one has to pay for hospitalization because of the crisis, period. That is a national emergency, and that's how it's handled. It is not working in Italy right now, and
Well-
they have a single-payer system. Now, with regard to what else I would do, the fact is that we're in a position where I would bring together the leading experts in the world. Instead of doing this in the United States, instead of doing this piecemeal, sit down and do what we did before with the Ebola crisis. what is needed and have one voice, like we did every day we met in that crisis in the Situation Room.
It's really
Laying
important,
out,
by
so
the
we
way,
lay
in
out
crises,
overall,
not
for
to
all the
make
nation, what the best
decisions
proposal is
and
how to move forward.
permanent
In the absence
policies
of that,
based on
governors are
that
making
crisis.
some sound
Yeah, exactly.
decisions.
Like the
They're
Patriot
doing
Act,
the
for
best
example.
they can by going out and getting the healthcare experts in their communities and their states to
you know,
move.
look, Biden's
But
been
it
in
should
politics
be
47
directed
years.
from
He was
the White
actually in
House,
office for
from the
2 of these
Situation Room,
diseases. at least.
laying out in detail like we did in the Ebola
Thank you.
crisis, and we beat it.
Thank you. Senator Sanders, your response?
Well, first of all, the dysfunctionality of the current healthcare system is obviously apparent. As I said earlier, there are people who hesitate to go to the doctor. You're going to have a maze of regulations. Well, if this is my income, if that's my income, can I get it? Can I not get it? Clearly, we are not prepared, and Trump only exacerbates the crisis. When we spend twice as much per capita on healthcare as any other nation, one might expect that we would have enough doctors all over this country.
We would
One
never
might
have this
expect that
many
we would have
doctors with a
affordable
pandemic.
prescription
No one
drugs.
is prepared for
One
this.
might
No
expect that
country
we are
is prepared
preparing
for this.
effectively
We've never had
for a
anything like
pandemic,
this
that we were ready
sweep
with
the world
ventilators,
in the
with
entire
ICUs,
history of
with the
our
test
fucking
kits
nation.
that we need. We are not. And bottom line here is, in terms of Medicare for all, despite what the vice president is saying, what the experts tell us is that one of the reasons that we are unprepared.
The problem with
and
Italy,
have been
David,
unprepared, is we
however
don't
you say
have
your
a
name, is
system.
that
We got
Italy is a second
thousands
world
of private
country.
insurance plans. That is not a system
And
that is prepared
tourism is their
to
number
provide
one,
health care to all people. In a good
number
year,
one,
without the
David
epidemic,
Conclave says,
we're
my
losing
dudes,
up
the
to
main issue with
60,000
Italy was
people
the time
who
they
die
took the
every
act
year
because
they don't
everybody
get
got
to a
sick at the
doctor
same
on
time. There
time.
were no
And
resources.
clearly,
It
this
was not
crisis
related
is
to
only
being a public
making a bad
service or not.
situation worse.
That has nothing
That's the thing
to
with this
do
entire
when you're in
disease
a national
or
crisis.
pandemic.
The national crisis says
I think there's
we're
probably some
responding.
truth to that, yeah.
It's all free. You don't have to pay for a thing.
I mean, China
That has
was
nothing
prepared.
to
They
do
just
with whether or not
incinerated
you have an
everybody.
insurance policy.
I'm
This
not.
is a
That's
crisis.
not a
Crash the
joke.
hospital.
They
War
sent.
with the
They
virus.
sent 40
War with the
industrial
virus.
incinerators
It has
to
nothing
Wuhan.
to do with copays or anything. We just passed a law saying that you do not have to pay for any of this, period.
That's not
Period.
true. As a matter of fact, that's not true.
That's
That
not
law
true,
has
bitch.
enormous
Fuck you.
loopholes. I understand that Nancy Pelosi did her best. Republicans prevented it. What you're talking about, Joe,
Whoa,
is
whoa, whoa.
enormous
Now they're gonna-
loopholes
Here we
within
go.
that.
Here we go.
That in fact it is not necessarily covering treatment for all people in America, and that people are going to be stuck with a bill unless we change that. And we're going to offer legislation to in fact change that.
If I may, I offered legislation. I laid out on my plan that it would cover exactly
But
what
that
is not
plan is
covered
just
by the House.
on his website,
Yeah.
I
right?
laid out in the plan that I laid out.
It's not a real plan.
Yeah, it's just a, listen, I wrote some shit down on my tour bus.
For anything having
Jared's
to
got a
do
website
with
too. Why don't
the
you hop on
crisis.
over there and look at the
This
hot
is a
dogs?
national emergency.
Hot dogs are for
There isn't
sale.
a question of whether or not this is something that could be covered by insurance or anything else. We, out of the Treasury, are going to pay for this. It's a national emergency.
But you see-
that's what my plan calls for.
But the weakness of this is, let's just do a hypothetical.
A haiku.
Family members.
Let me just
7, and then
let me just say a haiku real quick.
The wife has the virus. The husband is a wreck.
He's a wreck.
He's a wreck.
I like sick bitches, man. Hell yeah. You get a virus, I'm gonna put my ding dong inside you.
I wanna be a wreck.
Hell
We're
yeah.
in the middle of a crisis. But you know what? Last year, at least 30,000 people died in America because they didn't get health care when they should. Because we don't have.
Look at Joe's
universal
power stance
coverage.
there,
I
just
think
staring
that's
at
He
us.
just needs to
1
flop
out of
his
5
dick
people
out.
in America cannot afford the prescription drugs they need.
Let's take a
They
wager
suffer.
here.
Some
At
die.
some
I
point, do you
consider
think
that a
Joe
crisis.
is going to
Bottom
challenge
line
him to
is,
fight
wish.
or a
we
push-up
need a simple
contest?
system
Joe
which exists
Biden
in
would knock
Canada,
You want to
exists
step
in
outside,
countries
Bernie, you
all
little
over.
bitch?
And that is, if you are an American, you get the health care you need. End of discussion. We can save huge sums of money doing that. The trick is, do we have the guts to take on the healthcare industry, some of which is funding
Imagine
Vice
the
President's
party of
campaign?
fucking
Do we have
cancel
the courage
culture
to
and
take
boosting
on
up
the
women,
executives
trying
in
to
the
use
prescription
machismo
drug
to push
industry,
their
some
fucking
of which
shit?
are
Oh, we're just
funded
pussies,
by
man.
this
That's why we
campaign.
can't do it. Shut the fuck up,
This is a
Bernie.
national
You piece of
crisis.
shit.
I don't want to get this into a back and forth in terms of our politics here. I've laid out a plan.
Whoa.
Building on Obamacare, providing a public option of
Let's
Medicare
not get political
would
in this
cover
political
everyone.
debate.
I've laid out a
This
plan.
idea that this is his only answer.
The other thing is,
a mistaken
for the
notion.
Democrats,
But
we don't want
regardless of whether
old,
my
rich
plan
white
was in
men
place
running the
or
country.
his,
Hang on.
This
Our
is
two
a
candidates
crisis.
are old,
this
rich
is like
white
we
men.
are being attacked from abroad. This is something that is of great
I had a
consequence.
broad
This is like
attack me
a
one
war.
time.
And in a war,
broad, yeah.
you do
Yeah.
whatever is needed
Somebody
to be done
who is
to
a
take care of your people. And what you do is
MGOL
you- and I
0802
proposed
says,
it,
I think it would be
laid
great
out
if
in
Trump
detail.
crashed a debate and started making fun of
Everything
them.
that you
What if he
need
what if he
to
burst in
Like Kool-Aid?
No, like the
Macho
Macho Man
Man.
Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah. He had entrance music.
Or like Stone Cold's music plays, the window crash.
He just nails
Dun, dun,
Joe
dun,
in the
dun,
back
dun,
with a
dun.
folding
Vice
chair.
President, the Vice President just mentioned war. Would you deploy the U.S. military in
Oh!
effort to contain the virus? And if so,
Here we
how?
go.
Here we go.
Well, I think we use all of the tools that make sense.
Whoa, communists!
Using
Hi-yo,
social
commie.
Whoa, coming!
I want to put our
Say
entire
everybody's
military
international,
online,
that
rifles
is
out, and start
something
shooting
that
towards
has
this
to be
virus
done.
until it goes away.
This is clearly, as the Vice President indicated, a national emergency. And what I worry about
What do you
is
guys
not
feel? You
only
guys are
how
both
we
ex-military.
respond
Would
aggressively
you use the military for this?
to the
I mean, if that
virus,
resource is available,
but
use
also
military
how
medics. Yeah.
we
That's what I
respond
say.
aggressively
military, yeah,
to
you
the
create
economic
med camps, just
fallout
like we
of
did in
the
Iraq.
Yes.
recession.
I got
So
no
right
problem
now,
with that.
There's enough people in the National
Illinois,
Guard that
Ohio,
could
if my
help out in
memory
every
is
city,
correct,
correct?
Yeah, for sure.
the
Yeah,
governor
decent
there has
amount.
said they're closing down bars, they're closing down restaurants. What happens to the workers who are there? What happens to the millions of workers who may end up losing their jobs? So what I think we have got to do right now is if Trump can provide, or the Fed can provide $1.5 trillion for liquidity for the banks.
All right, every time
we've
he
gotta
brings
say to
this
every
up,
worker in America, you know
we
what?
drink.
Yeah,
$1.5
exactly.
trillion.
You're
We
not
did.
gonna-
So
you'll be
he
able to
did.
pay your
Trump did
mortgage.
provide a
Senator,
trillion
get
and a
a
half.
check.
No, he didn't.
To Wall
I thought
Street.
it was-
Senator,
oh,
we're
to
going to talk
Wall
about
Street.
the economic. Go ahead, Mr. Vice
The
President.
answer is I would call out the military.
Okay.
Oh,
Now,
call 'em out.
They have the
we go.
capacity.
Oh,
let's see what he
provide
says.
the surge help that hospitals need
Yeah.
and that is needed across
Did he
the
just say
nation.
surge?
I would make sure that they did exactly what they're prepared to do. They've done it. They did it in the Ebola crisis. They've done it. They have the capacity to build 500-bed hospitals and are in tents that are completely safe and secure.
What if this
and
is a
provide
rap
the
battle?
help to get it done to anybody, this overflow. So it is a
Gonna go
national
Biden.
emergency.
Two old
I
white men
would
freestyle.
call
Biden,
out the military.
The Ebola crisis is one thing. This is obviously a pandemic, which is far more severe and impactful to this country.
We don't know yet.
And I think one of the things
don't
that
know.
we want to remember here is that we got a lot of elderly people in this country who are
You
told,
two.
stay
You
home.
two fucks are elderly.
Yeah, you too.
Who's going to get food to them? How do we get food to them? You got schools all over this
Postmates.
country now.
Go to
being
Postmates
shut
right now.
down.
Use the promo code Drinkin Bros. You
How
get
are we gonna
$100
make sure
in
that
free
the kids
delivery. That's how you get food to the
well?
old people, motherfucker.
Or you can just wait for other old
What do
people
we
to
do
die and
about the parents
cannibalize
now
them.
who have
Yeah,
to stay home with the
that's
kids
true. By the way,
and
if
can't
you're
go
on
to work?
Postmates, Drinkin
So I
Bros.
think what
We'll give you
bottom line
$100
here
free
is
delivery
that in this
fees.
crisis,
Promo
we have
code.
got to start paying attention to the most vulnerable. That includes people who are in prison right now, people who are in homeless shelters right now.
gives a fuck
What
about
about the
who's in
half a
prison
million
right now?
people who are homeless tonight?
Shit, what happens
Who's gonna respond to that?
Harvey Weinstein or
Now,
anybody in prison tonight?
2008, when we had the Wall Street bailout, they did very well for the people on top. They bailed out the crooks on Wall Street, but they forgot about the suffering
They
of
forgot
ordinary
about Dre.
Americans. This time around, let us learn that lesson. Let us pay attention to the working
Thank you,
families in this
Senator.
country
We
and
have,
to the most vulnerable.
we have learned that lesson. And again, I lay out in detail. What we should be doing now is we should be surging help to those places which are the most vulnerable.
Are they
We should
still
have
talking
every
about
single
this?
person
I know,
that's
this
in
is-
the
Talk
nursing
about
home
what you're going to
being
do in
able
the
to be
next
tested.
4 years
We
as
should be
fucking
moving
president.
before
Can't.
Shut
Senate
I'll
up.
to
tell
do
you
that.
why.
We should
This
move
is
in the
dominating
capability
everything
room.
Doesn't
right
matter.
now.
We
They're
should be
letting it
sitting down,
dominate
the
everything.
president should be
3
sitting down in the
states
situation room right
shut
now
down the
and do
service
what we did
industry
before
today.
and asking the question, okay, you're going to close everything. Well, if you close everything, how do you get prescriptions that have to be filled? How do you make sure when you close that school, those children are going to be able to get the school food program? How do you make sure that you're going to be able to see to it that you
James,
get
are
your
you
mortgage
talking
paid?
about them
I
or
propose
us?
that
Those are
all
all
of
good
that
more
is covered,
specific.
by the way.
And it's going to take a
All those questions Biden are asking are good questions.
program to do that. But first things first. The first thing is take care of the immediate needs we have now relating to surging the kind of a capability we have to prevent this great bump in terms of how it's going to cause such pain, as well as moving in the direction of making sure we have long-term plans.
Thank you, Mr.
to
Vice
make sure it's
President. We're going to
taken care of.
talk in a moment a lot more about the economic impact. But first, Senator Sanders, I want to ask about China. When this outbreak first started in China, the government there censored the whistleblower doctor who sounded the alarm and downplayed the true gravity of the virus.
Right.
What consequences should China face for its role in this global
Take away
crisis?
every Panda
One of the
Express.
consequences is we
Biden
have
is
got to
planning
learn
on doing what Trump's
that
doing
you
while
cannot
claiming
lie
he's
to
not.
the
Yeah,
American
essentially
people.
is what he's saying.
You cannot,
I think we need to
be
protect our coke
less than
from China
frank
because
about
they've
the
been
nature
going
of
pee-pee
the
in it for
crisis.
years.
And what bothers me very much is
A lot of
you
people
have
forget
the
about
President
that.
of the United States today, Mr. Trump, who was praising China for the good work that they are doing. But in
still
fact,
worried
as you
about that Panda
indicated,
Express,
They were
though.
lying to their own people.
We know a guy.
And allowing
Yeah.
that
All right.
virus
Let me know.
to move
Let me
much
know.
more aggressively than should have been the case. Look, I don't think this is the time for reclamation, to be punishing people. Now is the time, by the way, to be working with China. They are learning a lot about this crisis. And in fact,
Because they fucking started
we
it.
have got to work
China
with
did
them.
all
We
this
gotta work
shit.
with the
Now we
World
got to
Health
fucking
Oh,
fix it.
tranny, I
We
don't
gotta
know
work
why
with
you're
Italy,
even
we gotta
over
work
here.
with
Go ahead
countries
and,
around the world. If there was ever
watch your
a
girlfriend
moment
bang somebody else
when the entire world
on a different
has
channel.
I mean, send me
I like
the
being called the gay bros.
I know. Why
Send
not? You know.
That's
Send me
why
the
I
link,
insisted
though,
the
'cause I wanna
moment this
watch.
broke
Yeah.
out, that we should insist on
don't
having
mind.
our experts in China to see what was happening. And make it clear to China there'd be consequences if we did
Why don't
not
we
have
just send
that
China a
access.
letter and say,
And
hey,
we
all
have
that
to
debt
lead
that
the
you
world.
own, you don't
We
own it
should be
anymore.
the
You don't
ones
own it
doing what we
anymore.
did
You
during
gave
the
you gave the
Ebola
world a
crisis.
virus.
Yeah, you just
this
caused-
is your
together.
this is your
And
this is
saying,
your
this is
ticket.
what we
You're-
must do.
You just cost
We
our
have to have
economy
a
about
common
$4 trillion,
plan.
and that's
All
about what we owe
nations
you in
are
debt.
affected the same way by this virus.
You're done.
Depending on exposure. And so this
a
is
good
we
idea.
need world leadership. We need
And
international
by the way, I'll make an
leadership.
honest
We need
statement
someone
here. If you're a
who knows how to
Republican tonight
bring
who's
the
worried
world together and insist
about
on
possibly
fundamental
losing
change
this
in the way in which we're
election in
approaching this.
2020, Biden's is about as moderate a
Senator
candidate
Sanders?
as you can get in this.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom line here is that in the
Gerbil
midst
poll.
of this crisis, we have got to act in an unprecedented way. And that means every country on earth is going to be affected. Every country on earth has got to work together. It also means that we tell the pharmaceutical industry, we tell the big money interests that this is not a time for profiteering. This is a time for all of us working together. The World Health Organization is a very, very strong organization. It is sad that we have a president that has ignored the international community.
What? Here we go again.
Dude.
Here we go
Health
again.
crisis.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Obviously, another part of this story
Whoa.
is the economy,
We switch
which
over
is
to
reading
a-
from
It's customer
this pandemic.
service.
Many economists are warning of a
Switch over
recession.
to another
Just
Oh,
hours
man.
ago, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to near 0%.
Shit, caught interest rates?
Which has not happened
Yeah, it
since
sounds like
the
caught.
financial crisis in 2008.
This is what
Vice
happens when
President
you start
Biden,
getting
what would
too
you do?
fucking
What I would do is
progressive.
make it
of
clear
like, yeah,
to the world
let's
and
throw
make
someone
it
who
clear
spoke,
to the
speaking
United
broken
States
English.
that we are going to have a major bailout package, that we do not reward corporations. We reward individuals who, in fact, are really put to the test here.
What about
The
rewarding
problem is the
corporations that help
policies of this
individuals, like
administration
what the NBA is
economically
doing right
Yeah.
now,
We've
for
eaten a
example?
lot of our seed corn here. The ability for us to use levers that were available before have been used up by this god-awful tax cut of $1.9 trillion, by the fact that we have used, the Fed will be of little consequence now. They've already used what leverage they have. And so we're going to have to just level with the American people. And here's the deal. We're going to have to not only deal with the immediate crisis, economic crisis, which is the most critical now, to let people know their mortgages are going to be paid, their rents are going to be paid, they're going to have child care, they're going to make sure that all their medical bills are cared for relating to this, et cetera. We have to go beyond that. And we're going to have to be in a situation where we're meeting on a daily basis, like we did in the middle of the financial crisis, to decide how we are going to find the wherewithal and the money to be able to see to it we hold all these folks harmless, but not do what Trump wants
Blameless.
to do. For
Blame
example,
the word
came
you were
along
looking
and
for
said,
there,
I got a
homeboy.
great idea. Let's, well, you're going to tell
Senator
me.
Sanders?
Norse wonders how many languages the Beard
Ebola
Trio can
crisis.
speak.
Flipping the match at Broski.
I assume that's us.
Exposes
I speak the language that
dysfunctionality
matters,
of
and
our
that's
I
health
don't have
English.
a beard and I feel bad.
And how
The,
fully
the
prepared
international
we are
language of
despite
business
how
is
much money
English,
that we
and
spend.
the
The international language of
And the
strippers
Ebola
is Russian,
crisis
so that's
is
why I learned
also,
it.
There it is.
It's true. Yeah.
I think, exposing the cruelty and the unjustness of our economy today.
Drinking
We
game.
have
Every time
more
they blame
income and
Trump,
wealth
take a
inequality in
drink.
America
You will be
today than
blacked
any
out
time
in about
100
20
years.
minutes.
And what that means, that in the midst of this crisis, if you're a multimillionaire, no one's happy about this crisis. You're going to get through it. You're going to get everything you need. You're not worried about health care. You're not worried about income coming in. Half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. We got people who are struggling, working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table. What is going to happen to them? So the lesson to be learned is we have got to move aggressively right now to address the economic crisis as a result of Ebola. As a result, we're talking about Ebola.
Take a drink.
Ebola in my head here.
Take a drink.
Dementia.
Yeah.
The coronavirus. What we have got to do
79
also
years
is
old for
understand the
people
fragility
wondering at home how
of
old
the
Bernie
economy
Sanders is.
and how unjust and unfair it is that so few have so much and so many have so little.
Sitting at Hooters playing the
People are
drinking
looking
game
for
too.
Results, not
Nice.
a revolution.
Good job, Jerry.
They want to deal with the
Phil
results they
says,
need right
hey,
now.
Ross, Jesse is your beer.
And we can do that
Well played,
by
sir.
making
That is
sure
true.
that we make
Read White,
everybody
you can
whole
black out. I
who
saw
has
you do it in
been
Orlando
so
at
badly hurt.
3 o'clock in the
terms of
afternoon.
They lose the job, in terms of not having to deliver
Bubba's
to
on
their
beer
children,
4 with his
in
drinking
terms of
games.
the healthcare
Goddamn
costs
he
that
is.
they have related to this crisis, we can make them whole now, and put in process a system whereby they all are made whole. That has nothing to do with the legitimate concern about income equality in America. That's real. That's real. But that does not affect the need for us to act swiftly and very thoroughly and in concert.
They're selling a
with
Chernobyl
all the
vodka
forces
right now,
that
by
we
the
saw
way,
that,
with
yeah.
bear
remnants of
to deal
Oh,
with the
real,
God.
crisis
Oh,
now.
no.
real
So no one's
pieces
thrown
of
out
dirt
of
from
For people who
no
keep
one
saying,
loses
let them
no one is
talk,
kicked out
have
of
you
the house.
never
No
seen
one
Mystery
loses a
Science
paycheck.
Theater?
No one is
You
in a
tuned
position
into
where
this.
they
God,
have
you want to go
Fucking
watch
damn
it?
it,
Go to
dude.
fucking
financial
CNN.
disability
I don't give a
as
fuck.
consequence of
Fuck
this
you.
SARS, of this
I'm gonna,
particular
besides,
Thank you, Vice
half this is
President.
you
Senator
listen to the
Sanders.
first sentence and then you just
Well, I
hear a
think
bunch of fluffy bullshit.
It goes without saying.
Here it
As
goes
a
without
nation,
saying.
George
fucking
Beasley
Trump
respond
did
forcefully
this, and
as
I'm
we
trying to
can
get money
to the
for
current
this. And
crisis.
if we gave
But
colleges,
it is not good
colleges.
enough not to be.
Well, first of all, let me
understanding
whip my hog
how
out.
we got
Exactly.
and where
George,
we
George
wanna
B.
go
wrote in and said
into the future.
Biden is not a moderate,
So
a
how
moderate
does it
Democrat.
happen
Yeah.
So
that today,
let's
in
preface
the
it, a
wealthiest
moderate
country
Democrat.
He's not an
history of the world,
independent at all.
No.
Or
half
anything
of
like
our
a
people
moderate
are scared
Democrat.
to death. Good.
the Birdie
I agree.
Bros that can't
In fact,
get
that was my
CNN because it
idea
isn't free
originally,
here to
make sure
complain
that
about the commentary. Lessons for the
It's made
future. If it's
whole
free, you only
as a
get half
result
of what
this
you
crisis.
want.
Wow.
Who wrote that?
I'm actually screenshotting that comment.
that?
Boom.
TW, my man, in here delivering the gospel.
TW, you're the drinking bro of the week.
Yes,
man.
yes, he is. This episode, TW
Disagree with
wins.
that. You were asking about the crisis. What are we going to do about the crisis now, which is incredibly consequential to millions and millions
Thanks. I
of
love
Americans?
you too. I love all of you.
And
You
it's
can
not
tell
going
by
to
my
be
face.
solved by a change in tax policy now. It's not going to be solved by a change in
Oh,
how we deal
Norse,
with
hush your
healthcare.
stupid
It's got to be
mouth.
solved with an emergency
Go back to
need
sharpening
right
your
now.
axe.
Right now, what do we do? First thing we do is we make sure that health care is available by
Jamie,
us
our
and
mic's
have
a little
the
hot.
tools to be able to
That's
deal
what
with it,
somebody's
and
saying, that we're
requires us to go
substantially
out
louder
and do
than them.
much more than this president has done in terms of planning. Secondly, it requires us to be in a position where we're anticipating what will happen
Okay, cool.
in the next month or weeks in terms of the flow into the healthcare system.
Oh, shit,
By
Corona's
bringing
got
the
hard
military
seltzers now?
along, more
Yes,
hospital
they
beds,
do.
more training, more equipment.
try
more
that one, too.
commitment to save the first
All
responders as well.
available.
In addition to that, we then have to also look
Nobody's
at
buying
what are
that
the
shit.
immediate
Hey, is
needs
Danny still over
right
there?
today.
Yeah.
How about that person who's been laid off today?
Will you get me one
How
of
about
these?
that person who doesn't have an income today? They have to know that tomorrow, when the paycheck comes due,
You guys want a sour
you
beer?
will get
Yeah.
that paycheck.
Is it possible?
And thirdly, we have to think long term about how we deal with making all those who have been badly damaged right again. And then we move on. Then we move on to change the economy in ways that are more profoundly necessary than people think, but do not respond to the immediate needs we
full
have
screen
now.
with that
First
CNN?
things first.
Oh,
Thank you, Vice
God.
President.
Thank you.
Senator Sanders, you
Masto
voted against
852
bailouts following
says.
the
hold on.
2008 financial
Why
crisis.
did they get her to
Many
talk?
believe those spending
For the
bills
same reason
were
all the
a
Democratic
crucial
candidates
part
spoke Spanish
of
in the first
stabilizing
debate.
the
Oh,
economy back then.
boy.
Would you support bailouts
Will you
for industries
support
that are being
bailouts?
crushed by the coronavirus outbreak now?
I know
I
clean.
did.
I know clean
You're
today.
quite right. I voted against the bailout because I believed that the illegal behavior being done by the people
A.
on Wall
Hindley,
Street
I'm
should not
drinking,
be rewarded
sour beer
by a
from a
bailout.
local
And today, by
brewery.
the way,
Yep.
those banks are more prosperous and own more assets, by and large, than they did back then. They're bigger now than they were then. I thought at the time that in the midst of massive
T-Borg,
income and
there's
wealth
no
inequality,
country on
the
earth
people
except for
on top
China that
who
has
are
more than
surtaxed
80% of
on
our
the very
buying,
wealthy
or
should
80%
bail
of
out.
our
And it's not just
population,
the top bailout.
or the buying power
We
of more
gave
than 80% of
trillions
our population. That's
dollars
the
in
dumbest shit I've ever heard.
zero-interest loans to large banks. But to answer your question, where
Crazy
we are
with
right
that.
now,
And if
we
I'm
need to
wrong, send me
stabilize the
a
economy.
link, please.
But we can't repeat what we did in 2008. Joe voted for that. I voted against it because we have got to do more than save the banks or the oil companies. Our job right now is to tell every working person in this country, no matter what your income is, you are not going to suffer
Oh,
as a
James,
result
fuck
of this
off.
crisis of which you had no control.
Vice
Go
President.
sit on a plunger, James.
James is probably one of our ex-girlfriends. Old Benghazi over there. She's probably driving. She's driving here right now.
They find themselves in a
Coming to
position
get ya.
where they would lose everything
James,
that they
I
had
have
in
a
that
question
bank.
for you.
$10 or $300 or a savings account. This was
man.
about saving an economy. And it did save the
Gerbil
economy.
poll.
And
That's like
the
the
banks
fourth
paid
gerbil
back,
poll
and they paid back
reference.
with interest.
Oh, this
I agree
gerbil
with
poll.
Bernie.
That's
Someone should have gone
this
to
is
jail.
brought to you by
That
gerbil
was the
poll.
big disagreement I
Gerbil
had in terms of
James,
bailing out.
listen,
But
she's
the question
smarter than all
was,
of us
they
because she
paid
can
back.
speak two
In
languages
addition
for
to that,
sure.
it
But
also part of
I
that
can't
was
understand what the fuck
bailing
she's
out
saying.
the
Exactly.
And this is a
automobile
TV
industry.
broadcast.
Jack.
It's a television broadcast. I need to be able to
You
understand what
voted
she's saying.
against that as well.
No, I did not vote against that. That bailout money was used later on by Bush to protect the automobile industry.
So
But here's the point. One minute,
Crowder's
here's the point
doing
here.
a fucking drinking game
Is
where
that
every time
in
they
terms
stutter
of
or
that
pause,
bailout,
you drink.
there are ways that
He's
going
gonna
to
be
can
dead by
bail
the end
out
of the
when
day.
you have a handful of
Alcohol
people who
poisoning.
have
Imagine being so progressive.
Who
You have
have
hosts who
profited
don't speak
off of
English.
the illegal
Next time they have to
behavior
invite somebody
of
from
individuals, in
Botswana.
this case on Wall Street. You know what you say to them?
David,
You
that's
want- and I
another
did.
good
I
one.
said,
It's
"This
just
is
somebody
Secretary
holding a
Treasury.
spear
You
next
want to
time
bail
on
out? That's
stage.
fine. You have your friends pay for it, not working people. The other
Ropex.
point is,
There's a new
as Joe should know,
Ropex.
it
It's not
wasn't just
Ropex
the
anymore. I've
$700
seen the
billion
ads
PAW
on
program.
Pornhub.
Oof.
The
It's,
Fed gave trillions
God, what is
and
it called?
trillions of dollars
Looking
in
forward to it.
zero
Look it up.
James
interest
Biden.
loans to every financial institution in this country and central banks all over the world. That was essentially a grant
Simonax.
because they then could
Semenax.
sell
There you
that.
go,
They could
Democrats.
then
Here's your
bring in
diversity.
interest rates
Two
much
white
greater
men,
than the
78
zero-interest
years
loans
old,
that they
screaming
got.
at each other on
Vice
stage.
President Biden.
Look,
Two rich white
the
men.
fact of the matter is that
78
if in
years
fact
old.
the banks had all been gone under,
The banks have
would
all
be
been
in
gone.
What kind
under
of
now.
bullshit a Gonzalez
not-
can is if
how-
you
how do you
don't
get out of it?
understand what
Now,
she's
Bernie's
saying, then the
saying
problem
that
was with
I
you?
guess he's
No,
gonna do a wealth
no,
tax.
that's not how
1% could
accents
pay
in
for everything.
English works.
And they should
When
pay
I
for
go to
everything
France
liquor.
and I don't
They
speak
were
French,
talking about
I don't
10,
expect them to
hundreds of
understand that I
billions.
want a potato with
That's what
sour
this was
cream
about.
as my side
The
dish.
fact was
Can you
that it
imagine
saved the
another country
economy
like France,
from
for
going
example, or
into a
Germany,
depression.
having
After
someone,
we passed
an
the Recovery
American
Act,
person
which
with
I was the one
broken
when I
French or
got the 3
German
votes to get it
Doing their
changed,
debates.
leading one of their
had
fucking.
$900
God
billion
damn it,
in
dude! What the fuck?
and
Why?
was the thing that kept us
The
from
Bernie
going into
Bros
the
are
Great
here.
Depression.
Vice President Biden, I'm going to stay with you.
Yeah, I think this
Many
has
of
to
the
be
11
leaking
million
into like
undocumented immigrants
Oh,
mainstream,
yeah.
and people are like,
Illegally
"Oh, the debates! I want to
in the United
watch.
States
Who are these
are afraid
dickheads?"
of medical
It's
help.
over
How
600
do you
views now.
ensure
Oh,
It's
that
all
they
great.
feel
it's all
safe
foreign
enough
people.
to get treatment
Which
to
is
help
fine.
stop the spread of coronavirus?
Anyone who shows up to be tested for coronavirus,
They got to
or
whip their
gets
hog out.
coronavirus
Let me see it.
See it.
would be held.
I've got a
harmless.
shotgun.
Just like I've argued
we're
all
gonna
along,
weigh each
any
ball
woman
equally
who crosses the border or is here
the
and being
whole
beaten
hog.
by her husband, but she's an undocumented, she cannot be deported because she reports. There are certain
Norse,
things you
no one
can
cares
not
what you're
deport
saying.
Oh, is that guy still here?
Other than
aliens
us
for,
laughing
an
at making
undocumented
fun of you.
person for.
Yeah, I like
And
it,
that would be
Norse.
I
one.
do.
You're welcome.
We
I
want
do.
that. It's in the
Norse
interest
can
of
stay. I wanna
everybody.
hear
Those
more
folks
bullshit.
who are the
I enjoy
xenophobic
being
folks
made
out
fun of.
there,
It's fun
it's
to me.
even
So
in
do
their
I.
interest that woman come forward or that man come forward. Because it deals with
No,
keeping the
J
spread
Mac, we're not
from
going to
moving
type
more
our
rapidly.
observations.
They
You're on our
will
fucking
not,
show.
should not,
Go
in
ahead
any
and get
circumstances,
fucked.
be held accountable
Here
and
it is,
be
brother.
deported from that place. Period.
I have
Oh, Norse
criticized
just
the
like
proposal
he
for
says
Medicare
Biden
for all that I
is in all
introduced
caps a
includes
Republican. So
making sure that undocumented
that's definitely a lefty.
people
We got
are
Kikis
also
Maximus who said, "Hey, I'm here from
and
Wales
right
in
now
the UK.
We have the absurd situation.
Carry on being
where
Americans,
undocumented
brothers.
people who
We
try to
will.
do
I think he
the right thing,
biased
when they're sick, they
Americans. I
wanna
think
go
is
to the
what he was
doctor.
trying to say.
Everybody's
disease
biased.
are now
I'm fine with
standing
it.
and thinking about whether ICE is going to
Oh, shit.
deport them.
Kim
One of the
Jong-un
things that we
to
have
moderate
do
the
is
debate.
to make sure
Can you imagine that?
feels
Be the best.
getting the health
the
care
next
that
step.
they need. That should be a general principle above and beyond the coronavirus. Second of all, we've got to end these terrible ice raids, which are terrorizing communities all
Beat
over
me,
this
they have the
country.
virus, and I
And
take them
thirdly, to
outside.
answer your question,
Nicholas
the time is long
Stoffel
overdue
says,
for
if
this
someone
country
wants to
move
be tested, I will
comprehensive
challenge them to push-ups. If they can't beat me,
immigration
they have the
reform
virus.
and
J-Mac,
citizenship.
get
Then I
off
take them
copy and
outside.
paste.
Yeah.
We're ignoring you.
And furthermore,
You're not getting your
on
way.
day one as president,
Go
I will
somewhere
restore
else.
the
Who is
legal
J-Mac?
status
I don't
of the
know.
1.8
Some
Senator, thank you.
douche.
We're going to talk about
Sanders
immigration
just said
in
he
a minute,
wanted
but
to
first,
end
I
ICE
want to ask
for the
about
Mexican
something
debater
that's
here.
going on right now.
The
Again, back
debater.
to this crisis. We know that people over the
Oh,
age
there's
of
a white
60
lady.
There we go.
and
Where'd she
those
come
with
from?
underlying medical conditions.
She should be on
especially
Fox
heart
News. That's where all the white
disease,
ladies
lung
are.
disease, and diabetes are the most
They gotta put one
vulnerable to
honky in there.
coronavirus and are being asked to change
Oh, I
their
see.
behavior to protect
Kiki
themselves.
is
So Senator
Maximus.
Sanders, I'll start
Yeah.
with you. You're 78 years old.
No.
You
Whoa.
had a
There
heart
we go.
attack.
Oh.
What are you
Heart
doing to
attack.
protect yourself?
Hey, you're old as fuck, bro.
Last night we had a fireside chat, not a rally. I love doing rallies, and we bring many thousands of people out to our rallies. I
No,
enjoy it very
no,
much.
no, you don't.
We're not
Come
doing
on,
that
come
right
across.
now.
You're good.
In fact, our entire staff
Thank you so
is
much.
working from home. So on a personal level, what we're doing is, I'm not shaking hands. Joe and I did not shake hands.
Really?
And I am very careful
They
about
chest bumped.
the people I am interacting with. I'm using
met at
a
half
lot
court
of
and
They
just chest
soap
they touch dicks.
and hand sanitizers to make sure that I do not get the infection. And I have to say, thank God right now I do not have any symptoms, and I
Isn't
feel
it
very
an infection, though?
grateful for that.
Vice President Biden,
virus.
you're
Viral
77.
infection.
What are you doing to protect yourself?
Yes.
Well, fortunately, I don't have any of the underlying
What,
conditions you talk
what kind of question is this
have
for
to
the
worry
debate?
Do you have the coronavirus?
Biden,
Thank
Biden
God,
just
for the time
went
being,
up to him and
anything
said,
can happen.
I didn't
No one
have a
would
heart
say, knock
attack,
on wood,
motherfucker. I'm good.
That I'm in good health. Number three, I'm taking all the precautions anyone would take, whether they're 30 years old or 60 years old or 80 years old. And that is, I want to make sure that I do not shake hands any longer. I do not engage.
blowing
We did the same
We're
thing.
no
Our
longer
staff is all
shaking
working from
hands
home.
ever again.
We are not doing rallies any
Howie
longer.
Mandel
We're doing
started that.
virtual
J-Mac,
rallies.
the
We're doing
viewers are
town
just
hall
going
meetings.
up. Will you
We're in a
just
situation
fuck off
where
already
now
with your
I do
bullshit?
not, as I said,
God.
we encounter people. We're not going
You're
into
annoying.
crowds.
You're more
And so I'm
annoying than
taking all the
listening to him
precautions everyone
tell me
else
how he's
should
not
be
getting the
taking. I
coronavirus.
wash
Yeah,
my
say
hands.
something
Like,
clever.
Like,
if you're
at
gonna talk
least
shit.
get in here and
Hot water soap.
fucking say
I
some
carry
shit.
with me.
Somebody
As a matter
said
of
that
fact,
the
I
two
have
of
my
them should
bag
do a
outside
40-yard
with
dash
hand
and a bench press of
sanitizer. I don't know how
225
many
like the
times a
NFL
day
Yeah.
combine.
That was
I
me.
agree with
I
that.
I said that
touch my
yesterday.
face.
Yeah, so
Do
did
the
we.
combine.
So I'm
Somebody else
taking
said
all
that.
the
I agree with
precautions
it.
we
We
told
agree with
everybody else to take.
Yeah, at least Norris
Let's turn to the
is
race more broadly
being
now.
funny and talking
Throughout this
shit.
campaign, you've each laid out starkly different visions for
Finally,
how to
off
bring
the
about
coronavirus.
change.
Here we
Vice
go.
President Biden,
38 minutes in, we're off the
Senator Sanders
coronavirus.
is calling for a political revolution. You said people want results, not a revolution. Make the case for why a revolution is not what the country needs or wants.
What?
There are
How do you
problems
prove a
with the South
negative?
Now, what's a revolution going to do? Disrupt everything in the meantime? Look, the senator talks about his Medicare for all. He still hasn't told you how he's going to ever get it passed. He hasn't told you how, in fact, there's any possibility of that happening.
True.
He hadn't told you how much it's going to cost.
He doesn't
hasn't
know.
tell you how it's
He
going to
doesn't know.
apply. It doesn't kick in for 4 years, even after it passes. We want a revolution. Let's act now. Pass the Biden health care plan, which takes Obamacare, restores all the cuts made to it, subsidizes it further, provides for lower drug prices, make sure that there's no hidden bills, make sure that we invest, what I want to invest $50 billion in dealing with underlying diseases that are of great consequence, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer.
Not one
make sure that
mention
we have
of the
a Medicare
pharmaceutical
option
industry.
None.
That's in a public option providing
'Cause he
Medicare.
takes
Yeah, but he
shitload
did.
of money from
Do
them.
that
But he
now.
did
I
say,
can get that
make
passed.
sure there's no
I can
underlying
get that
bills. If
done
they
if
could
I'm
fucking do that
president of the
ever,
United States of America.
that's a
That would be a
miracle.
fundamental
You kidding?
change
They
for
tried to
us
do
now.
it with
I
this
can tell
with
you
this
from
funding.
experience, being a significant consumer of health care, with my sons, my family, all the things we've gone through. What people want is hope, and they need it now, not 4
John
years
Cook
from
says
now.
they
And
give Biden
Bernie
some
still hasn't
Adderall
told
tonight.
us how
I
he's gonna
agree.
pay
He's
for
been
it.
all right
We're
tonight.
talking about
Not quite
30,
true.
40
Adderall
minutes
and
in.
B12,
You're not
yeah.
bad.
Not quite
Yeah.
true.
Senator
All
Sanders.
right, look, let's do something that is very rarely done in the Congress. Let's do something that the media
Look at
doesn't do.
Biden's
Let's
stance
talk
right
about
now.
the
That's a
reality of
power
American
stance.
life.
Yeah, he's touching his
Why
dick
is
with
it
that one
that
hand.
over the last 45 years, despite the huge increase in productivity and technology, the average worker today is not making a nickel more in real dollars? Why is it that
Look at
over the
Biden's
last
stance. That is
30
a
years,
fucking
the
power
richest
move,
1% have seen a $21 trillion increase in their wealth, bottom half of America, $900 billion decline in their wealth? Why is it that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Why are we the only major country not to have paid medical and family leave? Why do we give tax breaks to billionaires when 500,000 people are homeless today? And it comes down to something, Jake, we don't talk about. The power structure in America. Who has the power? And I'll tell you who has the power. It's the people who contribute money, the billionaires who contribute money.
Just give me one example where socialism or democratic socialism has worked. Just one. Just one.
The power. And if you want to make
I got
real
it.
changes in
Some of this
country,
stuff, he's right
if you
about
want
this,
to create
by the
an
way.
economy
Money
that
is
works for
power.
all, not just
Absolutely.
business.
And the
You want to
pharmaceutical
guarantee
industry has
quality
entirely
healthcare
too
to
much
all,
control
not
over
for
healthcare.
100 billion in
And so do the
profit
insurance
for the
companies.
healthcare
They're all
industry.
cunts.
You know what you need? You need to take on Wall Street. You need to take on the drug companies and the insurance companies and the fossil
It's
fuel
easy
industry.
for a
You don't
rich
take
man to
campaign
say this to
contributions
poor people
from them.
because he already
You take
has
them
fucking
on
money and say,
create an
just
economy
wait,
that works for
I'll
all.
create a
Want to do
revolution,
that?
everybody else
Do
wait.
what I proposed over 30 years
Not
ago.
Tugboat says black
Federally
power. I
fund
agree with you,
all
brother.
elections.
Yeah.
No private.
I'm into the black power movement.
contributions in the election
Hey,
process.
what was his
You
name?
want to do
Tugboat?
that? Join
Tug-
me.
not
Wait,
Join
do you
me in
see-
my
did you hear
constitutional
that?
amendment that I've been proposing.
He
Maybe
wants
you and I can work on
federally
that together,
funded
because that would fundamentally change it. And the
elections?
implication is I'm getting these.
I agree
I'm
with
not
that.
Oh, yeah,
accepting
money out of
contributions from
politics,
anybody
yeah,
over
sure.
$2,800. Number one.
Whoever said
My
black
average
power, I'd like to
contribution
see Cory
is
Booker in these debates. I thought he was
Just
pretty
this
fucking
month,
good.
I've
He's
raised
smarter than
$33
these two
million.
fucking
retards.
Average contribution $51. The idea
James, I
that
don't know
this
why
is
that would be a
Bernie's
surprise to you. You should watch our
implication
show
is
if you think it's a
somehow I'm
surprise that we would be
being funded by
criticizing
millionaires.
big
Bernie,
pharma
look,
or
in
the
last,
insurance
Super
industry.
Tuesday
Yeah,
before
James,
that, Bernie
educate.
outspent me
We're not
2, 3,
fucking.
4,
We're not.
6 to
We're not
1.
the
We also
goddamn
don't care
alt-right.
who you
won.
vote for.
No, we
I
don't
didn't
give a
have
shit.
money.
Care who you vote for,
We're not
man.
alt-right
won.
fucking fundamentalists.
And
Don't
whoever
matter.
becomes president is not going to change our fucking lives.
No,
Good that you had an
James,
idea
you're
30 years
fucking
ago.
dumb.
I don't want to join you. Why don't you join me? Why don't you get rid
Oh,
of the
God.
that you have right now?
Why don't you
which is
join
running
me?
very ugly negative ads about me, by the way.
Chris, yeah,
Well,
bring me
that's
some
just the
dots,
truth.
bitch. I'm
And
actually
there
wearing
are
a
two
Dots
other
shirt right now,
super
I think.
running ads
Yeah, I am.
against us. Why don't you just say right now, go on television and say, hey, you know what? I think in the past, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, you condemned super PACs. Is that correct?
You get rid of the 9 super PACs you have?
I don't have.
Oh, get fucked.
You go ahead and listen.
Now the gloves are coming in.
No, I won't give you a break on this one, Joe.
That
you
was
condemned
sharp.
super PACs. You got a super PAC, it's running negative. But here's the point.
Here's the
This
point.
is
Since
the
my
point.
that point didn't work.
Yeah.
In the
Since you
richest
got the old
country in the
1, 2,
history of the
you got a
world.
3-piece combo from
Half
Biden,
of our
dude.
people should not be struggling to put food on the
Wing
table.
leg breast.
And the reason for that is you have a political structure in which big money interests not only dominate the political system.
Imagine
but
how
dominate
funny this
our
would be if
economy
they
as well.
put in,
Somebody
like,
makes a
Eye of
decision,
the Tiger
we're gonna shut
slowly
down
fading in.
America. We're going to move to China. We're going to move to Mexico, pay people starvation wages there. This is an
Mike
issue
Davidson says,
that
I
has
want
got
what
to be
Bernie
ultimately
has,
dealt with. Who has the
3
power in
houses
America?
and a bunch of
Are we
cars.
content
Exactly.
with so
Yeah,
few
if you-
that last
I'll-
house
I'll-
all the way
so
on the
much
beach
power
in cash.
when
Yeah.
so many
I'll
people
pay-
have given up on the
$49,000.
political
I'll start
process.
paying for everybody
I
else's
proposed a significant
health
change
care
in the
and
tax code,
college
and I've been
when
proposing
I
it
have
for a
3
long, long
houses
time.
and a bunch of
Number one.
cars.
Exactly. And
Number
pay for them in
2,
cash.
it's
Yeah.
not just about taxing the super wealthy. It's about making sure everybody pays their fair share. For example, I can pay for my whole health care
Alex, I
plan
don't dress myself.
by changing the way in which
I
we
have
deal
people
with
for that,
capital
yeah.
gains. People should pay their capital gains based on what their income tax is, and not at 20%. That would raise $800 billion, pay for my entire medical health care plan, which would cover everyone. The fact of the matter is, everything I call for, I pay for. And I do not believe, and I have not
Dong
supported
off.
these exorbitant
Winner
tax
gets
cuts
the
for the wealthy.
nomination.
I strongly oppose
Who's got the better hog? That's who we voting for.
Biden's got a
Just
hammer.
throw it up on the table.
Biden's got a
$9
hammer.
billion.
You know Bernie's
And I
on
said at the
Cirque,
time,
though.
this
He's
is all
Jewish,
about
so.
trying to
No,
eliminate the safety
Jews.
net.
Are they
Look,
Cirque?
the
That's where
idea
That's
circumcision
they
comes
invented
from, you
Wow,
idiot.
the way he
Fuck.
says things.
God damn it.
Speaking of
Yeah, that's
negative
what happens
ads,
when I drink.
my Lord,
I don't know
Bernie,
who gets
you're
Cirque.
on an ad saying I'm opposed to Social Security, that PolitiFact says is a flat lie, and that the Washington Post said is a flat lie.
Oh, well, let me ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
You're right here with me.
Yeah,
Have you been on the floor of the Senate? You were in the Senate for a few years.
yeah.
Time and time again talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No,
You never said that.
no.
All right. America, go to the website right now. Go to the YouTube right now. Time after time,
Find the
you were
Drinkin
not
Bros.
a fan of Bo Simpson.
I was not a fan of both.
You were not a fan of the balanced budget amendment, which called for cuts in Social Security. Come on, Joe, you won't.
Look, here's the deal.
You're an honest guy. Why don't you just tell the truth here? We all make mistakes.
Tell the truth.
There we go.
You said that I, in fact.
When's Joe going to get mad? He hasn't gotten mad yet.
He's getting close.
He's getting
Bernie
real close.
has a strategy here, I think. I think he's going to pull Joe into a hole.
If you're Bernie, you got to be. You're like he's like a fucking prosecuting attorney with a murderer on the stand, and he's trying to make him mad.
Yeah.
Go to JoeBiden.com. Look at my exchange with Paul Ryan.
Going down
on
to the
his desire
YouTube
to
now.
try
Look
to
it up.
privatize and
There's this thing called the internet.
And understand how he manipulated it.
No, all right. Joe, let me repeat it again. I want you just to be straight with the American people. I am saying that you have been on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need to cut
The
Social
need for
Security,
speed.
Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true or is that not true?
No, it's not true.
That is not true?
That is not true. What is true is, in terms of the negotiations that are taking place, how to deal with the deficit, everything was on the table. I did not support any of those cuts in Social Security or in veterans benefits.
Whoa. Everything was on the table. All right, you're right. You just said it, including, in your judgment, cuts to Social Security and veterans.
In order to get the kinds of changes we need on other things related.
Joe, then
but we did not cut it.
I know, because people like me helped stop that. But
Oh,
Joe, you just contradicted. Joe,
He is
you
losing
just
this debate.
contradicted yourself. 1 minute, one minute you said I was not on the floor. The next minute you say, well, yes, there was a
Ryan
reason why I was
Chartrand,
worried
nothing
about
is
the
better
deficit.
than groundhogs
Maybe that's
fighting to the
good
death.
reason, maybe
It's
not.
go.
All
What,
that I
wait,
am saying
beavers.
is
Beavers.
You were prepared to
Asshole.
cut and advocated for the cuts of programs.
Let's just I did not. I never voted to cut Social Security.
Not talking about voted, Joe. That's not what I
never
said.
Voted. Well, look, I voted to protect it. Just go look at the debate with Paul Ryan for the vice presidency.
I think
Look at what I
coronavirus is
did.
actually protecting
And Bernie,
Social
will you
Security right now.
acknowledge Your campaign took out of context that whole exchange between Paul Ryan. Are you saying PolitiFact is wrong? Are you saying
Yeah,
the
well,
Washington
believe me, the
Post
Washington Post PolitiFact is wrong a whole lot of times. But
are they wrong on that, Bernie?
Okay.
Are they wrong on that, Bernie?
Joe.
Bernie, did you miss
Bernie, Joe.
You answer mine.
Jared,
No,
Biden is losing
One
this
more
debate
time.
right now.
Were you on the floor?
I've got Biden
for
ahead in
whatever
this
reason,
one, actually.
What are we, the UFC judges right now?
Yes, we are.
There hasn't been a takedown yet.
Scored that round 9-8.
Any of those programs.
Okay, all that I would say to the American people, go to YouTube. It's all over the place. Joe said it many, many times.
Go
I'm
to the
surprised.
YouTube.
Go to the
You can
YouTube.
defend that.
That'll be
or
a
change your
meme.
mind on it.
Yep.
Let's
but
see
you
if it's
can't
on
deny
Instagram yet.
The reality.
So, Senator, because you brought up
78-year-olds
Social Security and you've
telling
been
people to
talking
go to the
about
YouTube.
it, I want to ask you about
Okay,
something that
Boomer.
you wrote in 1996. You were a member of the House, and you wrote an op-ed that said, quote, "It is clear we will have to make incremental adjustments in Social Security taxes and benefits." Why are your past comments any less
came from the
relevant than
basement.
the
Incremental
Vice
adjustments.
President?
What I advocated, adjustments that I advocated and have advocated for years, is, among other things, increasing the cost of living assistance. No, you're not going to find me ever calling for cuts to Social Security. Right now, for example, we determine COLAs by looking at inflation for the general population rather than segregating the higher costs that seniors are paying for prescription drugs and for health care. That's what I was talking
All
about.
seniors over
I
65 are
have,
on
in
Medicaid.
fact, when Joe and
$300
others
a month. My parents
were
are on.
enamored with the so-called bold
This
citizen
is
effort,
bullshit.
which included cuts to Social Security or raising the retirement
Okay,
age,
Boomer,
I
go to the
formed,
YouTube.
Along
Yeah.
with people like Barbara Boxer, the Defending Social Security Caucus, to say no.
Reed White
When
says the blonde
20%
white
of
one
our
was
seniors
speaking.
are trying to get by on $13,000 a year or more, we are not going to cut Social Security.
Damn, we just
Vice
jumped up a
President
bunch.
Biden, yesterday
just
you
added like
endorsed
150
an Elizabeth
listeners.
Warren plan
Oh,
that
shit.
would undo key parts of the bankruptcy law you helped pass in 2005.
Oh, my
Somebody, can we get
God.
a
These
translator
ago,
for her in
you
here?
announced
American
support
Sign
for
Language or
making public
something?
college tuition free
Some
for
subtitles?
families who make
My
less
God,
than
man.
I can't believe
$125,000
neither of them
a
have
year.
answered in Spanish
Something
yet.
There are
Senator
like
Sanders
5,000
has supported. What changed?
Two things. Number one, let's talk about the
Latinas
bankruptcy.
probably within a mile of
Bankruptcy
that
bill
place
was
right now that
passing
could speak
overwhelmingly
better
Better
than
English
her.
than her.
And
yeah.
I
God
improved
damn it, dude.
I had a choice. It was going to pass in a Republican president, Republican Congress, and I offered 2 amendments to make sure that people under $50,000 would not be affected, and women and children would go to the front of the line on alimony and support payments. That's what I did. It passed overwhelmingly. I did not like the rest of the bill, but I
cleaning
improved.
lady is
Number one. Number two, I've talked with Senator Warren about her proposal. This is the first opportunity we've had to make
Blonde white one, is that what
substantial
Biden
change
calls his
in what
hog?
we do in the Republican administration. That's why we talked about it 2 nights ago, and I supported her proposal. And it's a good proposal. It's a solid proposal.
John Cook
And she
wrote
should
in,
get
I'd do
credit
her.
for
That's
having
what we're
Yeah,
all
she's
thinking.
hot.
That's
with
what we're all
regard to
thinking.
what we're
It's not the
talking
fucking
about
point.
in
Yeah.
terms of college
don't care
education.
what
I've been
language
saying
she's
for a
speaking.
long time that we're in a position where 12 years of education is not enough. Is not enough. in the 21st
New York
century.
Times just
We need
said it
16
posted
years
an
of
article that
education.
says ISIS
The
told its
exact
fighters
bill
not to travel to Europe for the jihad
Senator
because of
Sanders
coronavirus.
I guess a little over a year ago.
You can't.
Capping it off at $125,000.
China did something right
You
with the
could get free
coronavirus.
up to
The
that
jihad
point. After
has
that,
stopped.
You'd have to pay for your college education. It only worked for public
ENCQ.
schools.
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
worked
that's
for
great.
Ironically, I'm
persons
tuned in from
your
Colombia
state.
and
I
sipping
support
on
that
some,
idea. It was a good idea.
Colombia
and I
Dare.
support it.
Yeah.
And
I have
so
to drink
that's
heavily every
what
time
it
I hear
is.
her speak.
And I'm not saying everything Bernie said has been wrong. He
Jesus.
happens to be
Thanks,
right on
Mike
that.
Davidson.
Senator Sanders, I assume you welcome these changes.
What?
This is a little bit about leadership as well.
I would love it if
Joe
one of
talked
them
about
just would
bankruptcy.
say, like,
Joe,
what the
my
fuck did you
memory's
just
good.
say?
What did you just say?
I
Could you
did
make
not.
the white lady
All right.
speak
I
again?
really wish Joe would try and fight one of the commentators.
You know Joe's thinking about it. Like, who
Struggling
is
with
this
student
non-white
debt.
woman?
Who is this?
I'm
non-white?
79. I don't
Really
have time for not white
And that
people. Come
bankruptcy
on.
bill made it impossible, very difficult for people to escape from that student debt. It was a very, very bad bill. You said, Joe, that a majority of the people in the Senate voted for it. You're right.
Overwhelming majority.
Overwhelmingly. Well, I voted against it in the House, and I was right. And I don't have to rethink my position because that's what leadership is about, having the guts to take an unpopular vote. But it's not just bankruptcy. The difference between Joe and I on higher education is 4 years ago. It was not a popular idea, Joe. I'm glad you're coming around now. 4 years ago when I said that public colleges and universities should be tuition-free.
Chris Bermuda says she
people were
needs to
saying,
take her
"Bernie,
shirt off."
that's a
I mean, that would
radical
make this
idea."
better.
Wow.
Well, you
If
got
we had
states
topless
and
people
cities
hosting
and
this
counties
debate.
Everybody's
Oh, my God.
everybody should
that
just
are
be
moving
naked.
in
Biden
that
and Sanders should both
direction.
have their hogs out
And
the
I'm
whole
glad
time.
that Joe is on board, but what
Like when I
leadership
played
is
Post
about
Malone
is
and
going
beer
don't-
pong the other night,
when
we
it's
both
not
got
popular.
nude.
Yeah.
That was the
When
only
it's
way
an
we could.
Because then he
When
could
it's an idea
say,
you get
he could
criticized
say,
for.
like, I don't
So I'm
understand the
proud of
question, but
that
check
fact.
out this
And I'm proud
hog,
of
brother.
what
Hell
Joe
yeah.
did.
And then he starts
Joe,
helicoptering his
since the
dick.
campaign has come around. I talked about raising that minimum wage $15 an hour 4 years ago, Joe.
So did I, and I went out and campaigned
$15
for it.
an hour?
There we go.
$15 an hour, New York City. Go talk to the governor.
I will
I
talk
went
to
up
the governor.
there.
I'm not aware of that.
All right.
I am not aware of that.
I will talk to
All
the
right.
guy.
I
Yeah,
want
come
you to
talk to
know
the
on.
It was
governor.
a radical idea. Very few people in Congress were talking about it.
I wasn't
Go ahead,
in
Vice
Con-
President.
Well, here, look.
Ooh.
Let's get something straight about the
Flever,
bankruptcy. The
we
bankruptcy
did
bill
give you guys
already
things like
did not
electricity, the
affect
light bulb, and the
student debt
airplane.
for
So, yeah,
90%
we're pretty
because
damn
the
good
law
for the human
is
race.
America's
passed.
good.
We could not declare bankruptcy for those
Yeah.
loans that were
Also
from
Hot Pockets.
private institutions.
Again, so
You
for the
couldn't
people
do
at
it.
home, I really
As
want
the
to point out
bankruptcy
the
bill didn't
stance. Go to
affect
full
that.
screen,
It
Jamie.
affected 10% of the people.
Look
the
at
first
that
bankruptcy.
stance.
10% of the
Bernie's
student
hunched
loans,
over,
number one.
right? Hunchback
Number
of Notre
two,
Dame.
now we're in a
Biden
position
standing like a
where
man
we're able
who's
to
He's
correct
erect.
that problem.
Yes, who's
The
in
fact
control
is,
of his
if we
fucking
hadn't
body,
stepped up
who understands he's
and
got a dick and
changed
balls
the law
between his legs,
as
like,
it
and
relates
this is,
to people making
and
less
they
than
go over this.
$50,000,
By the way,
those who-
they have
for
debate
alimony
coaches
and
before
child
this, and they
support,
go
then guess
over
what?
how you
They would have
speak,
been in the
how you
bucket, too.
stand,
It
how
was
you
gonna
point,
pass
when
anyway.
to
I
point,
made it
when
let
to
me
fake
finish.
laugh,
I
all
made
that
it
stuff.
incrementally better.
Biden
I did not
clearly,
like the bill. I
clearly
did not
fucking
support the bill, and I made
took
it
the
clear to
lessons from
industry
his
I didn't
coach and
like
applied
that.
it tonight.
Number
If
two,
they really want to
this
get young
bill
voters, though,
now
they would stop and be like,
calls
hang on a
for
sec, and they would prop their
opportunity to
phone up and do a
fundamentally
TikTok
change
video right
the
there.
states we couldn't correct in the bill the first time around.
Well, I'm gonna
And that
take
is
my
why-
horse through the old
Make,
town road.
make hogs great again.
Make
Somebody
hogs
said
great
it like
again,
that.
Senator
yeah.
Sanders, go ahead.
Well, this is kind of circular logic. We're going to reform the bill that I voted for. Well, if you hadn't voted for it, and if you had rallied other people, as I try to do in the House voting against it, we might not have the problems with it we have today. You know what leadership is about, Joe.
D.
It
Dada
deals with,
said, looking down at his
whether
prey.
you-
That's
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
right. That's what
opposition,
Trump did.
He
in
squared up
2016
on him, yeah.
say,
to Hillary.
Yeah,
That's
that whole
serious.
thing where he was following her around on stage.
legislation,
That was all coached
regarding
beforehand.
gay communities and the
That's what's happening
so-called
tonight.
Defense of Marriage Act. You remember that bill? bill, right? You remember the
do.
Defense of Marriage? It was
Chad
gay
and
marriage.
Mike apparently
wait, here we go.
started
Let's
his.
hear
A
this.
little bit differently than it was 25 years ago. I remember that vote. It was a very hard vote. I voted against the Defense of Marriage Act. You voted for it. I voted against the bankruptcy bill. You voted for it. I voted against the war in Iraq, which was also a tough vote. You voted for it. I voted against disastrous trade agreements.
Now, these
like
are facts.
NAFTA,
Yes.
Yep.
PNTR with China, which cost this country over 4 million good-paying jobs. You voted for it. I voted against the Hyde Amendment, which denies low-income women the right to get an abortion. You have consistently voted for it. I don't know what your position is on it today, but you have consistently voted for it. In other words, all that I'm saying here, we can argue about the merits of the bill.
Vice President Biden.
It takes courage sometimes to do the right thing.
We can argue about the past and the future. This man voted against the Brady bill 5 times. Background checks 5 times. Number one. Number two, this man is the only one of the few Democrats I know who voted to exempt the gun industry from being able to be sued. Talk about a special interest. We can sue. We should be able
Like
to
if the
sue
gun
drug companies,
blows up in
we
your
should be able to
hand,
sue tobacco
that's
companies.
fine, but if
We
it's
cannot
operating as
sue
it's intended
the
to, then
gun manufacturers.
it's on you.
Because
Yeah.
he voted for that years ago. He says it was a mistake now. I'm
Shut up,
prepared to accept
Illuminati.
he
We
says it's
invented
a mistake.
everything.
Well,
The question is, what
We
do
wrote
we
the
do
Bible,
from this
bitch.
point on? And by the way, I might add, I'm the first person to go on national television in any administration and say I supported gay marriage. I supported gay marriage when asked.
That is true.
And it started a ripple
That was a
effect.
gaffe,
I'm not
though.
taking all
It was.
credit for
It was
but
a
I'm
hot
the
mic.
first
He didn't mean to
major
do
player
that, and he
say,
forced Obama's
I
hand.
support gay marriage on national television.
All that I'm saying here
Shadron,
is
Mike, got it.
Leadership.
we can argue, this.
Bernie
or that
States loves
bill.
guns.
Yeah, he's
But what I'm
yeah.
suggesting
He's
is
voting
that
to what
in
his
this time of
constituents
crisis,
want from him.
Yep.
When
Yeah.
we're living in a really, really unsettling world, economically, from a healthcare perspective with the coronavirus, the people of America know my record.
Reaver 141.
For 30
Yeah,
years, I have
you
stood
referred
with
to
the
a
working
political
families
person as
of
the
this
last
country.
office they held,
I have
even if
taken
they're
on
not there
every
anymore.
special interest
Typically.
there is
It's
out
typically
there,
what it is.
and
Same-
that
same
is
with Mayor
what I
Pete
will
and
do
those guys, yeah.
in the White House. That's a very different record than Joe's.
Peach or
That is
meat?
not a different record than mine.
That is a totally different record than yours. All right? I mean, and it's manifested in this campaign
Flavius
when you're
Josephus, what are you talking
getting all this money from wealthy people and billionaires. So I think if you want somebody who will take to the White House what I've done for my whole life.
Thank you, Senator Sanders.
Wait,
And that is
drag
take on
queen
special
story
interest,
out.
I think,
What
on
are you
that
talking
campaign.
about?
Average
Senator Sanders.
campaign
Let's-
contribution $44.
Let's talk about the future, Vice President Biden. If you become the Democratic presidential nominee, how will you appeal to supporters of Senator Sanders when you do disagree on so many issues?
He's making it hard for me right now. I was trying to give him credit for some things. He won't even take the credit for things he wants to do. Look, I think that I want to make it clear. If Bernie's a nominee, I will not only support him, I will campaign for him.
Whoa!
And I believe the people who support me will do the same thing. Because the existential threat to the United States of America is Donald Trump.
That's bold.
It's critical. I
Throwing
would hope
support behind a
Bernie
socialist
would
It's
do the
not.
same thing
It's
if
not
I'm the
bold though.
nominee.
He's doing
And
it because he's
encourage
trying
all
to
of
force
his
Bernie to say the
followers
same
to
thing.
in
Yep.
fact
Yeah.
support
That's
Bernie
all it is.
as well.
good
Because
point.
it's much bigger than either of us. Character of the nation is
That's
on
the only
ballot.
way that they have a
Goes
standing
well
chance.
beyond
You
right.
know what I
everyone.
mean?
You're right.
Senator Sanders and I both agree we need health care should be a right, not a privilege. We both agree we have to deal with student debt. We both agree we have to deal with education and access to education. We both agree that we have a new Green Deal to deal with the existential threat that faces humanity. We disagree on the detail of how we do it, but we don't disagree on the principle. We fundamentally disagree with this president on everything. This is a man who wants to cut Social Security, cut Medicare, not Bernie, the president of the United States.
He wants people to be
this is much
self-sufficient and not
bigger than
depend on the
whether or not
government.
Right.
I'm the nominee.
He doesn't want
or
to cut
Bernie's the
Social
nominee.
Security.
No.
We must
I mean,
defeat
maybe
Donald
that's the
Trump.
result, but-
He is the 4 more years of Donald Trump will fundamentally change the nature of who we are as a nation. We've got to restore this country's soul. That's essential. And as long as this president
God,
is
this
there,
is the
we're
same
not gonna be able to-
bullshit they
Senator
were saying
Sanders,
about
if-
Bush.
Can I just say
Back
a
in
word
the
and I'll
day.
respond to your
Well,
question?
it's just a quick question, which is
Wait.
if he is the nominee, Vice President Biden,
Yeah.
you've already said you would support him. Of
course.
But will you campaign for
There you
him?
go.
Will you urge your
Look,
supporters to
on
support
day
him?
one,
That's exactly what you
when I
said.
announced my candidacy,
Yep.
what I said is this country cannot deal with a president who is a pathological liar, who is running a corrupt administration, who obviously doesn't know the Constitution of the United States, who believes is above the law, was a racist and a sexist and a homophobe.
Oh,
He
boy.
is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. And what I said on day one,
Oh,
Joe.
boy.
Day one.
No.
But obviously,
That's
I
a
hope
stretch.
to win the
You
nomination.
don't, you don't remember
But if I
Richard
don't
Nixon or
win the
Jimmy
nomination,
Carter?
every other
Fucking
candidate
dude, you were in
is
Congress when they were there,
prepared to
dude.
Yeah,
come
he was
do
there when
everything
fucking Lincoln was in
humanly
office.
possible to defeat Donald Trump. But let me respond to something that
This is the
Joe,
2-hour campaign
said.
ad for
You know,
Trump.
Talk about the Green New Deal.
It feels like it.
And all of these things in general terms, but details make a difference. What I have said throughout this campaign.
It's
and I
interesting,
don't
Dan, that
think
you
I've
brought that
produced
up. I
it,
think that was a great
Joe,
point.
Yeah, it
is
is.
that
I mean,
by
that's
if we
exactly
are
what
going
Biden
to
saying it
if we're
first,
going to save this
force
planet
Bernie to
for our
say it,
kids
Yeah.
and
and
future
Biden gets the
generations,
credit for it.
we
Like,
need to
to
have
me,
the courage
Biden's way
to
ahead
take
in this.
on the green
He is
debate,
now, yeah.
personally.
fossil fuel
And
industry
at an hour in,
and make it clear to
knowing
them
what
that their
Biden's
short-term
cognitive
profits
disorder
are not
is,
more important than the future
all he has to do is
of
play
this planet.
defense
We
at
have
this
a very
point, and he doesn't
detailed
come
plan,
off as a
a
bad dude.
detailed proposal.
And probably most
Happy to get the
Americans have
endorsement
checked out of this.
the
By
Sunrise
9 o'clock
movement.
hour, they were like, all
We're
right,
going to
great.
get into the Green New Deal.
Okay.
We're going to talk about climate change. We have to squeeze in a quick break.
You're
We're
goddamn
gonna come
right.
back
And
see
so
the
do we as
Univision
Drinkin
Democratic
Bros.
presidential debate.
Jimmy, mute
Jamie,
that
mute
shit.
that shit. First and foremost, we're gonna talk about ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Finest mattresses on the planet right now. They are 20% off. Everything in the entire store: mattresses, sheets, pillows, covers. The adjustable bases are 50% off. If you buy a mattress now from ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros, you get 2 free pillows. Also, they've got a 36-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest. No one on the internet is offering that. Go to ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today and take advantage of these monster sales. It's shipped to your house in a box. You don't have to go out anywhere. You don't have to worry about the fucking coronavirus. Everything is shipped to you. Next up is blackriflecoffee.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not go out and have to fight the Karens and Lindas.
No,
For your
coffee.
coffee,
A
because
lot
you
of the
can have it
coffee's off
delivered
the
straight
shelves.
to your
A lot of the
door.
coffee is off the shelves.
BlackRifleCoffee.com. You can join our coffee club. You can have it shipped to you automatically every couple weeks, every month, however much coffee you want. Use the code Drinkin Bros 20 to give you a discount. off
Drinkin
that.
Bros 20 for 20% off. They've also got amazing apparel. It's shipped right to your house. And you are
D-Dust says, is there a bed big enough for my hog?
Make hogs great again.
You can get a king for yourself, and then you can go on and get a single for your hog.
I
dude.
think
That's
he's
what I
going to
do.
need a California king for that
Might.
hog.
He might.
He just puts those 2 kings together. Hopefully, he's got a room big enough.
Goddamn
I got an
right.
extra twin bed that's off the side of my king bed that I just lay my hog on every night.
Hang on, have to lay the hog.
Hog outs. Black Rifle Coffee. The promo code is Drinkin Bros 20 at blackriflecoffee.com. They'll ship the coffee to your house every single month. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to fight the crowds, and a lot of it is sold out. Next up, we got KillcliffCBD.com. Boom. These cans right here. It's 25 milligrams of CBD in each can. No carbs, no sugars. They've got grape. They've got orange kush. They've got 3 amazing flavors with 25 milligrams of CBD in each can. It gets shipped to your house. Promo code Drinkin Bros, 20% off, and you get free shipping. Again, these are all products that get shipped to your house. Go to KillcliffCBD.com today. Promo code Drinkin Bros, 20% off. What are you guys laughing about over there?
Craig Dulesky said his mom's name is Linda, and then Rupert Snyder says, Craig, is she single?
And now someone's talking about you're hating on your boy Russell Wilson. He's his.
Yeah,
He says
Nate-
he already called him.
I hate Russell Wilson,
Yeah,
by the way.
he's-
This a listener
the
sent
worst.
this in. We put this up. It is signed. I love you, Ross. Fucking hate Russell Wilson. Dude. He's the goddamn worst.
Is
the
the-
goddamn worst.
Is the mermaid still alive? Yeah, I talked to her the other day.
Yeah,
She's
she's
alive.
still alive. Hey,
Sort
Jamie,
of.
cue me back in when they're out of commercial break. Okay.
I think she's getting married, actually.
Next up, we
Something
got.
like that.
Is she really?
Something like that.
Congratulations
Yeah,
to her.
congratulations.
She's been single for 3 months. Wish the happy couple love. Postmates. Postmates, we're giving a huge deal away there. Type in the promo code Drinkin Bros for $100 off delivery. So that means, look, you can get anything you want from any
delivery.
KFC, Pizza Hut, you name it. You get free delivery, essentially, up to $100 off of the promo code Drinkin Bros. So no matter what you order, $100 is off for the next 2 weeks at Postmates. Go to Postmates. Drinkin Bros is the promo code. You get $100 off delivery. Free delivery is a big deal at Postmates. I just used it tonight. We got KFC for the entire fucking neighborhood, dude. The schools are off. Everybody's quarantined. We had a quarantine and chill party in the neighborhood tonight. Download the app Postmates if you haven't already. Type in the promo code Drinkin Bros and you get free delivery.
We
on
know you
all
guys are
your
already
items.
using Postmates. Just get the free delivery.
We do.
I love our buddy in Colombia. You know, he says he's loving this and he's drinking agua dientente. He says it's like Jaeger, but it's Colombian.
Yeah.
He said
sounds thick.
unsweetened Jaeger.
Yeah,
God damn,
wow,
that's
I don't
way
know what
worse.
Somebody's asking for a promo code of Gerbil Poll.
Yeah, it's actually my first gerbil, all one word, all lowercase. So if you just go to gerbilpoll.com/Drinkin Bros, you can get all your gerbil poll needs. You can get the extended, you can get the
you
micro,
can.
you can get the travel poll,
Boom,
and it's
boom.
just my first gerbil is the promo code, all one word. You guys get 45% off actually over at gerbilpoll.com.
And as always, we're brought to you by expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros. Protect your digital butthole. Everybody's out there trying to
They said the
steal
debate is back.
Yeah, let's get back to
material from it. Cut it back in, Jamie. It's not
Oh,
on
it's
yet.
not on yet.
Somebody's lying to you then.
They're lying.
Somebody's lying to you. expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros. You can protect yourself. $7 a month. Everybody's trying to hack into your fucking bullshit, dude. Try to steal your bank codes, everything else you got
Should
in
be
this
back
life.
on now.
$7 a month. Promo code expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros. And you are good to go. Jamie, refresh that debate. You can't use a computer like that.
Gordon Bradbury's watching from Australia, but he can't drink
Goddamn right
because
he
it's
is.
noon on Monday. You're in the future, guy.
Yep, you're in the future.
So enjoy that because our future is not looking great.
Not looking great. Or maybe CNN is out of commercials, actually.
Yeah, maybe refresh that feed there, White James.
He's trying.
There it is.
If we don't get it refreshed, are we really missing a lot?
Yeah, we are. We are.
We call Jamie White James.
We do, because he's white.
Shut up.
Last but not least here, going forward with our sponsors. Not last. We'll throw in a few more at the end. GetRoman.com/Drinkin Bros. Boner pills. Talking about where to lay your boner at.
Yeah,
dude.
now's the best time to
The best.
buy a bunch of Roman. You're going to be stuck at home for a little while.
For
and
2
just,
months, you might as well get some Roman, bone your
Just
lady, bone
ruin
your
it.
girlfriend,
Just
bone your
ruin it.
mistress. Might as well ruin that fucking pussy. Free doctor's visit. All you do is you go online, you answer questions. You don't have to deal with their shit. The debate is back on. Crank it up, Jamie.
He's working it.
GetRoman.com/Drinkin Bros.
We're just going to have to filibuster until
Come on, Jamie.
our technical difficulties.
Turn
you
it
know?
up, Jamie.
Filibuster it.
hurry up.
All right.
Don't
All
use
right.
that computer. Turn it up.
Filibuster.
Does the Mac not work?
Admitted that if I'm elected president, have an
there it
opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue.
Boom.
Secondly, if I'm elected president, my cabinet, my administration will look like the country. And I commit that I will, in fact,
Go full
appoint
screen with the,
I'll pick
there we go.
a woman to be vice president.
Thank you.
There are a number of women who are qualified to be
You hear that?
president
Oh.
tomorrow. I would pick a woman to be my vice president.
So that's
Number
Kamala
3,
Harris.
I'm the guy that wrote the domestic violence law, and I'm the guy that put in the prohibitions that no one who abuses someone else should be
big
able to
move.
own
That's
a
gonna
gun.
be the biggest takeaway
Period.
from
They should
tonight's
not be able
debate.
to own a gun. I would get the boyfriend exception amended. Now I've gotten it passed that if you get a stay away order from a court, you have a child with someone, you cannot own a gun. No one should be able to own a gun who has abused a woman, period.
This is the
Mr. Vice President, if I could just follow up.
Hang on, this
Just
is
to
a
be
big
clear,
one, yeah.
you just committed here tonight that
Yes.
your running mate, if you get the nomination,
Yeah.
will be a woman?
Yes.
Okay, let me.
Senator Sanders,
Wow, that
will
is
you?
a
Right now,
bold
may
move.
I just respond and
Please.
ask Joe a question? Who? Right now,
Ask him who the woman
a
is.
woman's right to control her own body is under massive assault, unprecedented assault.
It is.
Joe, you have in the past, on more than one occasion, voted for the Hyde Amendment, which says that a woman, low-income woman, could not use Medicaid funding for an abortion. Is that still your view, or have you modified it?
It is not my view. It's not my view. And by the way, everybody who has been in the Congress voted for the Hyde Amendment at one point or another because it was locked in other bills. The reason why I affirmatively came out opposed to the Hyde Amendment was that if we're going to have public funding for all health care along the line, there's no way you could allow for there to be a requirement that you have Hyde Amendment. A woman who doesn't have the money could not have coverage under health care.
Harris or Stacey Abrams at
Number two, and I've done that. I did that a while ago.
Michelle Obama.
Okay? Number one.
Yeah,
Number two, I would send
That's the rumor.
immediately to the desk of the United States Congress when I'm elected president, if I'm elected president,
Bernie, my running mate is
going to
be a transgender unicorn.
Yeah.
Because I think it is a woman's right to choose. I think it's a woman's opportunity to be able to make that decision. And in fact, I've gotten 100% rating from NARAL as well.
Senator Sanders, before we move on, I just want to get you to respond.
You have a lifetime 100% voting record from NARAL?
I know my record of late from NARAL has been 100%. I don't know whether it was 25 years ago.
Well, all right. I mean, I think one of the differences, not to pick a bone here, is I have been consistent. All right, I've always believed in that.
She should follow up. This moderator should follow up with.
Senator, just to be clear,
will you have a female
the vice president committed to picking a woman as his running mate. If you get the nomination, will you?
Boom.
In all likelihood, I will. For me,
there it is. And
it's
that's
not
gotta
just
be Elizabeth Warren.
Nominating or a woman. It is making sure that we have a progressive women, and there are progressive women out there. So
now
my
both
very
of them are
strong tendency
Or AOC.
is to move in that direction.
Yes.
Let's turn now to
correct.
immigration.
There aren't a whole
Vice
lot of
President
progressive
Biden,
women.
But now both
you
of them are
recently
stuck.
said
So
for
when
the
they
first
get-
time
whoever
that the
wins the nomination, they've
Obama-Biden
got to have a female
administration
vice
made a
president.
big
They're
mistake
stuck after
in
tonight.
deporting millions of immigrants.
Reed White
but you
made a good
didn't
point. Hello, Nikki
publicly
Haley.
speak out
That's what I said
against
about
it
Trump.
at the time.
I said that the other day
Switch it
on
What
the show.
commitment will you make tonight
Said that on
that
tonight's
as
show.
president you won't deport millions again?
Number one, I said that it took much too long to get it right. And the president did get it right by DACA, as well as
Sasha
making
Grey is
sure that he
progressive.
tried to protect parents as well.
Sasha Grey would be a
and
great
by the way,
candidate.
moving on an immigration bill as well. The fact is that we already had a vote on an immigration
Michael
bill,
Hanna
by the
says
way,
AOC
and
is
Bernie
too
voted
young,
against
not
it.
for VP,
The
right?
immigration bill. Had he voted for it and it passed,
over 35.
we'd already have 6 million undocumented would be citizens as I speak right
Look up
now.
her age, Dan.
But I will send to the desk immediately a bill that requires for
She's 30.
access to
she's
citizenship
too
for
young.
11 million undocumented folks, number one. Number two, in the first 100 days of my administration, no one will be
She was
deported
older.
at
She
all.
looks older with
From
the
that
Michael
point
Hando
on,
says
the
Nikki
only
Haley would be the
deportations
second
that will
hottest
take place
president. Who's
are
the
commissions
first?
of felonies in the
Vice
United
President?
States of
No,
America.
president.
So to be clear, only felons
Like, who
get
is the
deported
hottest
and
president,
everyone
Michael
else gets
Hondo?
to stay.
JFK?
Yes.
I'd fuck JFK.
Yes, and the reason
Sanders?
is it's about uniting families. It's about making sure that we can both be a nation of immigrants as well as a nation that is decent.
Let me
Senator
respond, and I'll answer your question. Let me respond to Joe's comments about the 2007 immigration bill. That bill was opposed by LULAC, the largest Latino organization in America. The Southern Poverty Law Center called its guest worker programs akin to slavery. There wasn't really a vote on the bill. It was killed because there was a vote on the Dorgan Amendment. I think it was 49-48. And you know who voted with me on that one, Joe? Barack Obama. He understood that that proposal was a bad idea. We don't need slavery in America where guest workers are forced to stay with their
Come on.
employers. But in terms
No
of
one has
immigration
slavery
in
in America
let me
today,
outline some of the things that we
Bernie.
do. Day one, we restored the legal status of 1.8 million young people and their parents in the DACA program. Number two, immediately,
Sniff
we end
tests.
these ICE raids,
That's how-
which are terrorizing communities all over this country. Three, we changed the border
Taylor
policy under my
DiMarino
administration.
has said
No
Patterson
federal
Holloway
agent
2020
will
like
ever
5
grab
times and
little
hasn't spelled
babies
my
from
name
the
right
arms of
once.
their mothers.
Nah, he won't.
And fourth, I think we can pass what the American people want, and that is comprehensive immigration reform, path towards citizenship for the 11 million undocumented.
Senator Sanders, could it suggest
There it is.
positions like
They
this
they
send the
swapped over to
message
her
that
again for
when a
this
Democrat
question
is
about
in the White
immigration.
House, the border is open? Do they?
No, that's just, I mean, that's what Trump says, and that is a total lie. What we're talking about is a humane, sensible policy supported by the American people. Nobody is talking about open borders, and of course, Trump lies about that. But the bottom line is, right now, you have in this country people who have been here for decades. They're working hard. They're raising their kids. They're an important part of our agricultural economy, our construction economy. These are good people, and yet they're living in terror. And we have got to end that terror.
It's funny, man.
And
I
end the
guarantee
ICE
you the
raids
headlines
and move toward a
all
path
tonight,
toward
all tomorrow will
citizenship.
be trending
Let me
as
set the record
female
straight,
VP.
as some of this said.
And they're both
You know, the
stuck and
idea
locked
that it
into
was
this
slavery.
now.
Barack Obama supported that bill, that immigration bill. Teddy Kennedy supported that immigration bill. I support
Biden
it.
was
I
first
doubt
to
whether
that,
those
too, again,
people
by the
think
way.
it's
He's
slavery.
been first a lot.
And by the way,
Getting
right
it in
after
real
his
quick.
vote against that, he went on the Lou Dobbs show and continued to canard that they're taking jobs. These immigrants are taking jobs from
Canard's
America.
not a word I
which is
hear-
one of
I
the
hear that
Republican
much.
canards. Right after
Not
that
from
vote, that no vote.
human beings,
And so,
no.
come on. This is, you think Ted
2020.
Kennedy is for slavery? You think I
Well,
was for slavery? You think
when you-
people voted for it for slavery?
Just-
and with regard to your issue, your question relative to whether or not I would deal with supporting the border. Look, we can deal with securing the border by national technical means. All the bad things are coming through ports of entry right now. We don't need a wall. And by the way, I would immediately, as president, surge to the border. I would end this notion for the first time in history
Surge again.
that people seeking asylum have to be in squalor
It's a drinking
on the
game.
other side
Every
of the
time they
river.
say surge,
and
take a drink.
in a desperate situation. They should be able to come to the United States and have a judgment made as whether or not they qualify. I would also surge to the border. Immigration judges to make
surge.
make
Drink.
decisions immediately.
Gotta drink.
And no one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
Senator Sanders?
That's kind of what I've been saying throughout the entire campaign.
So
What we need is, at the border, hundreds of administrative judges. We need to deal with people who are seeking asylum
God, he
based
sucks.
on
Yeah.
international
He should be
law.
lighting Biden up right now
We need
because
not to be dividing
under
children
the
from
Obama
their parents
administration,
and dividing families
there's about
up.
500 billets
We need a
for
humane
federal immigration
border
judges, and 250 of them were missing.
And I'll tell you what else we need.
Like,
and
he
I
didn't
speak
appoint
as the
250
son of an
additional
immigrant.
immigration judges during his
My
time
father
there.
came to this country
His
from
team
Poland
sucks.
at the age
They're
of
not prepared
17.
for this at all.
That had a nickel in his pocket, couldn't speak English, didn't have much of an education.
Whenever you refer back to
I
a
will
story
end on
about
day one the
somebody else,
demonization, the ugly
it means
demonization
you're lost
from
in
the
your
White
train of
House
thought.
of the immigrant community in this country. We've got a president who is trying to divide us up. My administration
Do you think
brings
Trump
our
started
people together, black
coronavirus
and
to
white
get
and
Mexico to
Latino,
close the border?
Native American, Asian American.
Thank you, Senator
It's
Sanders.
working.
Vice President Biden, you opposed Sanctuary Series as a presidential candidate in 2007.
What?
Where do you stand now? Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
What?
Huh?
Senator Sanders?
Of course not. Look, and one of the things that goes on when you have that process
Strange.
is that
Weird.
not only the psychological terror, and I've talked to these kids. Kids are scared to death in America when they
I don't
come
think
home
Biden
from school
understood the
that their
question. He was just
mom
like,
or dad may not
no.
be there, maybe
He said no.
deported.
Is
What
that your
we
dad?
need to do is to
Is your
end,
dad
and I
in
will
here?
end this on day one.
Oh,
The
yeah, yeah.
ICE
Your dad's
raids
in the live chat?
that
Yeah.
have been so harmful to so many people.
Don't think
And
I
we
would be
need
referencing
to
Ted Kennedy's
do,
morals.
Again,
That's
what
what he
the
said.
American people want.
You mean after he had a woman
I'm the
in
son of
his
an
car,
immigrant.
drove it off
This
a
is
bridge and let
country
her die in the car and
significantly
left?
built by immigrants, built by slave labor.
They made a movie about
And what we
it.
have got
Also,
to do is
Jared's dad is
appreciate
in
each
here.
other
We also
and
wanna
end
say
this
that,
demonization and divisiveness
pass
coming
away,
from the
sir,
Trump administration.
Senator
We'll
Sanders,
take
Senator
over.
He's not old
We'll
enough.
take over.
He's not old enough.
We
Yeah,
are a
we're
nation
gonna-
of immigrants. Our
He's
village
not old
is
enough.
I'll be
resting
Jared's
on
stepdad.
the
Dan-
Latino
Dan will be
community.
your
Barely
dad.
even 50.
24
Dan
out
will
of
be
every
your dad.
100 children
I'll
in
take you to
school today,
fucking-
from
to
kindergarten
the
through
racetrack.
high school,
We'll go
is
ride
Latino.
go-karts.
Right
You'll
now,
throw a
today,
catch.
I'll be
the
a great
idea
stepdad.
that
Throw a
any
catch.
American thinks it doesn't pay for us to significantly invest in their future.
Tonight's debate sponsored by Werther's Originals.
Because if we do not invest, everything that the very
my
wealthy are concerned
grandmother's
about
shawl.
and the xenophobes are concerned about will in fact get worse, not
shit.
better. We should be embracing, bringing them in, just like what happened
Trump
with
versus
the Irish
Biden will be
immigrants
fun,
after
though.
the
It'll be
famine, just
great
what happened to the
TV.
Italians.
Oh, my
Shut up.
God, that'll
We've
be
been through
great.
this before. Xenophobia is a disease.
Thank you,
What?
Vice President Biden. Let's move now to the climate crisis. I'm
Does he
coming
know
right to
what
you,
the
Senator Sanders.
definition of
the World Health
disease is?
Organization calls the climate crisis a, quote, health crisis and warns that climate change
No, a
could
health
fuel the
crisis is a
spread
health
of
crisis,
infectious
like the
diseases.
coronavirus.
Can you point to specific measures in your climate plan
The
that
climate
address
is
that
infecting
threat?
people right now.
Well, of course we do. I mean, we look, this is what the scientists are telling us, the same scientists who make your point there, Jake, What they're telling us is if we don't get our act together in the next 7 or 8 years, there will be irreversible damage done to this planet. We're talking about
number
cities
keeps
in
getting
America,
lower and lower.
from
know,
Miami
It's such
to New Orleans
nonsense.
to Charleston,
Dude, listen.
South Carolina.
They said that their staff are
We are
warring on
talking
Twitter
about
right now.
severe droughts,
awesome.
which will
sure.
prevent farmers in the Midwest from
Look.
growing the food that we need. We're talking about
Look at-
extreme weather
Look
disturbances.
at the maps of
which hit Houston,
carbon
Texas,
concentration
Venice,
in
Italy,
the atmosphere above Italy and
just a
China
few
right now,
months
and how
ago.
quickly it evaporated
We are talking
when their industry
about
shut
the
down. Like it was like
absolute
that.
need.
Like, get fucked
And I
with
want to
this
hear
bullshit.
Joe's position on this. This is not
Kyle
a
King, there are no
middle-of-the-ground
rules. We're
thing.
just
This is
drinking
not
and
building
making
a
up
few more
reasons
solar panels
as we go
or
to
a few
drink.
more wind turbines.
There are no rules
What
here.
this
No
is
rules here.
about is transforming our energy system
Drink when they say
as
surge.
quickly
That's
as
one of
we
them.
humanly can away from fossil fuel. It is insane that we continue to have fracking in America. It is absurd that we give tens of billions of dollars a year in tax breaks and subsidies to the fossil fuel industry.
Michael
This
Hanna said
has
Bernie
got
won't
to
be
end,
alive in
and
7 to
now,
8 years.
if we love our kids
Neither of them
and
will.
future generations.
Vice President
No
Biden.
way.
First thing that President Obama and I were summoned to the the Defense Department for was to meet with all the chiefs. The single greatest threat to our national security, they said, is climate change. Single greatest threat to our national security. Because as populations have to move, because they can no longer live where they are, because
Where
their
has that
islands
happened?
are sinking, because you
Their
saw what happened in
islands
Darfur
are sinking?
with the change in
This
weather
is
patterns
Did he
nonsense.
just
in the
fucking
desert
say
and
that?
it's
Their
causing
islands
war.
are
It's causing
sinking?
great migrations.
Go back to the
Great
Monroe
migrations.
Doctrine
They said that's the
of-
single biggest problem. Number two, there's an awful lot of people today
isolationism
who are in
with-
fact getting ill
with
because
America
of the
being the
changes
hegemon for
in
North and
the
South
environment,
America, as
particularly
we
up
were
where
for 100
Bernie lives.
goddamn
I'm not,
years.
it has nothing to do
Like,
with
get
him.
fucked, man.
But having up
We
in
have
the
two
Northeast,
sea
because
borders
you have
with thousands of
everything
miles
from
between the
beetle
next
infestation and a
country.
whole range
That's
of
why
things that
America's
are
been
causing
able to withstand all this
diseases
shit.
as well.
The other thing
in
is, if
addition
I'm going to
to
listen to a chief,
eliminating
I'm going to listen to
foliage.
Elizabeth Warren.
Vice President, let me ask you that.
A real
You
Indian
talk about
chief,
this being
not
the
the rest
number
of these
one
people.
crisis.
Yes.
They told you at the Pentagon. The price tag for your climate plan is about $1.7 trillion. That's about $14 trillion less than Senator Sanders wants to spend on this. Is your plan ambitious enough to tackle this crisis?
Yes, it is ambitious enough to tackle the crisis because go to joebiden.com. I lay out the first 13 things I would do immediately upon being elected. Number one, we're going to once again reinstate all the cuts the president
curious
made
as
and
to what
everything from the
joebiden.com
CAFE standards,
actually
how
says
far
here
automobiles can go, investing in light rail so that we take cars off the road,
It's all MILF
making sure
porn.
we're in a position where
could you
we are
imagine?
now in a position
So
that
great
we
if it
put
was.
500,000
all you can do is donate.
charging stations in areas that,
can't
in
read
fact,
his
all
13
new highways
things?
that we built, making sure that we spend $500
definitely not on the
billion
front
a
page.
year in
No.
the federal government paying for
Continue to
transportation, the
joebiden.com
vehicles
so you
we
can
run.
click that.
All of those being
Oh, it's more
converted
donations.
to be able to run on low carbon
Shows
fuel and
vision.
or be able to run on no carbon fuel at all by having them
Go to
move into
joebiden.com.
a
Look at
direction
the
that
two
is
black people and
all-
one white woman
all
that he's using. The one white
carbon
woman
free.
looks like she's frozen
We can do
in time.
these things. We can lay down the tracks where nothing can
The
be
black
changed
guy's like,
by the
yo,
next
I
president or
shouldn't
following
even be
president.
here.
The one beyond
Why
that.
don't he smell
In addition
me?
to that, we also have to, I would immediately rejoin
Joe's vision.
the Paris Climate Accord, which I helped put together. I would call the 100 nations, over 100 nations, but the 100 major polluters to the United States in the first 100 days to up the ante and make it clear that, in fact, if they didn't, there'd be a price to pay. And lastly, I would be right now organizing the hemisphere and the world to provide $20 billion for the Amazon, for Brazil, no longer to burn the Amazon so they could have forests, no longer forests,
God,
but
they
they
do
could have
controlled
farming,
burns
and
down
say,
there, man.
this is
Yeah.
what we're going to do. They absorb more carbon in the Amazon and the region that's burning now than we emit in one entire year per year.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Yeah,
Senator
that's
Sanders.
to,
All well
that's to
and good.
save it.
Yes.
But nowhere near enough.
This is the same
I
thing
mean,
why
you mentioned
Oregon
we
is getting
started
all
this
fucked up with their
debate
and California.
talking about
The other
It's
problem
because
is,
a warlike
EPA
situation
officials
in
are
terms of
fucked.
coronavirus.
They don't
And we
go
said
off
we
of
have to act
data.
accordingly.
It's more
You
of a
said it.
hippie mindset
right.
of
I
we
said
have
it.
to save
have to act
everything and just let it go.
dramatically, boldly,
And that's
if we're going
that's how you get California burned into the ground.
the other biggest problem with this is
I look at climate change
the
in
two
exactly
biggest
the same
countries
way.
in the world who
It's not
have
a
the
question
biggest
of
pollution
re-entering
problem
the Paris
are
Accord.
China
That's
and
fine.
India.
Who cares?
And they won't
Not a big
report
deal.
anything they're doing.
The deal right
so we
now
can't
is, do
stop
we
them.
have the courage? And this gets back to the point I'm trying to make all night long. Do we take on the healthcare industry and tell them their profits are not more important than healthcare for all? Do we take on the fossil fuel industry? Look, in terms of the fossil fuel industry, these guys have been lying. They've been lying for years, like the tobacco industry lied 50
I think the
years
reason
ago.
they're quieter
Oh, we
is
don't
because
know
there is no audience here.
If fossil fuels, if
Oh, yeah,
oil
that's
and
right.
carbon
Usually Bernie's
emissions are causing climate
screaming.
change. They knew.
I think they should always
ExxonMobil
do this.
Knew.
Yeah,
They lied.
this is
I
the
wanna-
cleanest
I think
debate
they
I've
should.
I want to
ever
hear
had.
them talk. I don't want to hear
But this,
applause
Jake,
breaks.
is
and
an
shit like
issue
that.
of enormous consequence. What Joe was saying goes nowhere near enough. It's not a question of money. Give me a minute here. We have time to talk about this. This is a world-shaking event.
I understand. I just want to give him a chance to respond. and then we can-
POGEC
Let's stay on.
legend.
We're
Get
staying on this
fucked.
issue.
Number one, no more
this-
subsidies for fossil fuel industry. No more drilling on
Bernie made a
federal
great
lands.
point.
No
If
more
there's no
drilling,
audience, right?
including offshore.
Why are you
no
limited to
ability
just
for
90
the oil
seconds when you
industry
could
to
actually have a
continue to
conversation
drill.
if you
Period.
Just let 'em talk.
And
Nobody else is
number
there.
one.
Nobody's going to
Number two,
interrupt you.
we're in a situation as well where we cannot. We are able to move rapidly to change the dynamic in terms of what we can do to set in motion. The fact that he says climate change, Paris Accord doesn't mean much. We could get everything exactly right. We're 15% of the problem. 85% of the problem is over there. We need someone who can deal internationally. We need
How
someone who
do
can
you
bring
do
the
that?
world together
We've
again.
never been able
we
to
need
do that.
someone
No,
who can
you're
move
not
in a
going
direction
to unless
that,
you-
in fact,
China.
if
You're
you
not stopping
violate
India.
the commitment you make, you will pay an economic price
No,
for
this
it.
is all- You're not
like
stopping
what's happening
Russia.
in China.
No.
They're
Unless
exporting
you're planning on an
significant coal.
invasion or
Thank you.
a war or a
Obviously,
threat,
the Paris
you're not
Accord
fucking
is
getting
useful.
anything in there.
See
But it doesn't go
Fukushima
anywhere.
and
If you
Chernobyl
laugh
if
at
you
Joe,
think
then
we're
you're missing the
stopping
point.
anything they're doing
This is
overseas.
an existential
Or the Chinese
crisis.
doctors
Bingo.
sewing
You
human
talk
faces
about-
on monkeys.
Monkeys,
You know,
yeah.
I'm
Get
talking
fucked,
about
man.
stopping fracking
Ridiculous.
as soon as we possibly can. I'm talking
Look at
about
Biden's
telling the
stance
fossil
again.
fuel industry that they are going to stop destroying
You've got
this
a hunched
planet.
over
No
man?
ifs,
Yeah,
buts,
Bernie
and
Sanders looks
maybes
like
about
Danny
it.
DeVito
I'm
over
talking
there.
about
Yes.
Oh,
speaking
my.
to
Looks like
China.
the penguin.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
sure your proposal
Danny DeVito
does
is the
that.
penguin.
I'm talking about speaking to China, to Russia,
Biden's
to
wide
countries
open
all over the
stance with
world.
that cock-
and
that cock
in this
swinging.
moment,
He's got his hog out, bro.
Yeah,
making the
dude.
point that instead of spending
That's a power
1.8
move.
trillion on weapons
see-
of
I
destruction
see you.
designed
I
to
see
kill
you,
each
Biden.
other, maybe we should pool our resources and fight our common enemy, which is climate change. I know your heart is in the right place, but this requires dramatic, bold action. We've got to take on the fossil fuel industry. Your plan does not do that.
My plan takes on the fossil fuel
This
industry and
debate
it
is
unites
equivalent
the
to a
world.
gorgie.
You just got finished saying. What's he going to do? He's going to bring these countries together, make it clear to them. I'm saying we bring them together, make them live up to the commitments. If they don't live up to the commitments, they pay a financial price for it. They pay an economic price for it. Because
Bernie
we can
keeps
do
raising
everything.
his
And
hand.
does that
You
My
know
scale
you
and
have
is
does
90
it
seconds to
sea
speak.
essentially
level.
saying
I don't
they
need to
pay a
lecture on What's
tax?
going to happen about
Does that help
rising
climate
seas?
change?
Nothing.
I know
They
what
pay a
happened.
tax.
I watched the whole Delmarva
Nothing.
Peninsula, just
China
like
could pay
it is in
endless
South
taxes. They
Carolina
wouldn't
and the
give a
rest.
fuck.
Something I know a little bit about. I wrote the first climate change bill that was in the Congress, which PolitiFact said was a game changer. I'm the guy who came along and said with Dick Lugar that we're going to trade. We'll forgive your debt.
Dick
if you don't
Lugar.
cut
That's
down
a
the
great
farm.
name, yeah.
I've been way ahead
Not
of
as
this
good as
curve.
Dick Armey,
This
though.
idea that all of a sudden Bernie found this out is amazing to me.
I was there
Sanders?
Now, Bernie didn't
when
find it out.
Lincoln
Bernie
got
is listening
assassinated.
to the scientists. And what, you're talking about making countries around the world fulfill their commitments. Those commitments are not enough. What this moment is about, Joe, is that the scientists are telling us they underestimated the severity of the crisis. They were wrong. The problem is more severe. So all that I'm saying right here
By the
is that
way,
we
this
are
whole thing about
fighting
climate change,
for
that
the
statistic
future of
people
this
use to say
planet, for the well-being
97% of
our
scientists
kids and
agree
future
that blah, blah, blah.
generations.
No.
You cannot
97%
continue,
of
as I
papers
understand
written on the
Joe
subject
believes, to continue
said that.
fracking.
Correct.
Correct me
But
if I'm
that
wrong.
doesn't mean shit.
What we need
People
to
who
do
don't believe
right
that
now
aren't out there writing papers
is
on it.
bring
No.
the world together,
They're
tell
actually
the
trying to
fossil
make a
fuel
difference.
industry that we are going to move aggressively to wind, solar, sustainable
Thank you.
energies, and energy efficiency.
Thank you, Senator.
No more, no new fracking. And by the way, on the Recovery Act, I was able to make sure we invested $90 billion in making sure we brought
He
down
sounded
the
like
price
Dr.
of
Evil
solar
right there,
and
dude.
wind.
$90
that is
billion.
lower than the price of coal.
$90.
That's why not another new coal plant will be built. I did that while you were watching. Number one.
don't have
Number two,
Oh,
we're in a situation where
there's a little
we, in
jab.
fact, have the ability to lay down the
tickle to
tracks
your
where no
asshole.
one can
If we don't have
change
coal, though, what are we
change
gonna
the
put in kids'
dynamic.
stockings?
And
What is
that's why
Santa gonna
we
do?
should be talking about things
ever
like
thought
I've been
about that?
talking about for years.
Santa
High-speed
gonna
rail,
put in kids'
taking millions of
stockings?
automobiles
I'm more
off
of
the
a
road,
Krampus
making
guy
sure that we
anyway.
move
Yeah,
in a
Krampus
direction
is
where
dope.
no more
Both of you
drilling
are
on
on
federal
record
land,
saying
making
Krampus
sure that we're
is dope,
investing,
yeah.
changing the entire fleet of the United States military.
They're not getting worked up enough.
Thank you, Mr.
I
President.
thought this was
Senator
going to be
Sanders,
way better.
I want to talk to you about fracking. Because you want to ban fracking,
Yes.
which is a method of extracting natural gas.
Everybody knows what it
The
is.
shift towards natural gas and
Tapper,
away
you
from
fucking
coal
turd.
has resulted in reduced U.S. carbon emissions. So how can the U.S. transition to your targeted goal of zero emissions with fracking completely out of the picture?
Because we have to invest in an unprecedented way.
What?
In an
What?
unprecedented way. You started off by saying that we're talking about a $13-14 trillion investment. That is a lot of money. And I've been criticized for that.
We're going to get $14
But
trillion.
I don't know what the alternative is if we are
Where
playing
in
for
the
the
budget
future
are you gonna
of
get
this
$14
planet.
trillion?
we gotta be
You just
dramatic.
asked an appointed
and
question.
what being dramatic is massive investments.
How do you
in wind,
plan to do
in
this
solar,
if you're banning fracking
under the green in
and giving
sustainable
us
energies in general and research and development?
Where are we going to get
What?
$14 trillion?
Making our
He is
buildings
fucking
all
this
over.
question
This
up
country,
so
my state of
bad.
Vermont, around this country got a lot of old buildings. We can put millions and millions of people to work making our buildings energy efficient, moving our transportation system to electricity. So what we're talking about is a massive,
Adolf
unprecedented investment. That is what the
That's
Green
funny.
New Deal is about. I supported it.
It's Adolf Hitler, but he can't
and
get anything
I
done
will
because he's got
fight
diarrhea
to
all the
implement
time.
Thank you so much, Senator Sanders. We're going to be back with more from the CNN Univision
Goddamn
Democratic
right.
Turn that
presidential
sound
debate.
off,
Stay with
Jamie.
us.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
By the way, if you're watching right now and you haven't clicked the thumbs up thing over here, go ahead and do that because all the trolls came in and clicked the thumbs down thing.
Well, we got a lot of Bernie Bros in here tonight. and
Who cares? I
that's
like
fun.
listening to their
We don't
hogwash.
care.
Yeah,
We-
come on, Bernie Bros. Let's
All
hear
I
your
ask is if
bullshit.
you're gonna talk shit, be creative and funny.
Yeah.
Or
That's all I ask.
factual, you know,
Factual.
come
I
at
don't
come at
care
it with a
about
hit.
Either way.
Facts
Either
are-
way.
facts are
Come at it
points.
with a hit. you know.
We have our own sponsors, so we're mutant CNNs
Dog
here.
face pony
Our
soldier.
own sponsors. The last one we didn't quite finish. GetRoman.com/Drinkin Bros.
Get your hog out.
Boner pills. Get that dick in those mouth out. No doctor visit. You don't have to go to a doctor. Somebody got a problem with your dick. Or if you just want to fucking party and want boner pills in the mail, go to GetRoman.com/Drinkin Bros today. They send it in a discreet package. Your mistress, your mom, your dad, your fucking kids won't know that it's there.
Your
You
dog
answer
will know.
5 questions. Your dog will know if you're fucking your dog.
Well, no, he'll know.
He'll know, but he's not.
Dogs
gonna,
know.
Yeah, they know. But the boner pills will be in the mail in 48 hours. Boom, you're ready to go. Last the entire weekend, dude. Might be on some myself. We're in Sunday night here. I was not prepared for this. I might still have half a chub right now from GetRoman.com/Drinkin Bros. There's a reason why Roman has destroyed Viagra in the market. You don't have to go to a doctor anymore. Just go online. Boom, they'll ship them to your house. Next up, we've got buyraycon.com/Drinkin Bros. These earphones are the fucking best in the business, dude. They're wireless. They last 6 hours. You had the box out yesterday, man. You recharge them in a little box.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Tiny.
The box like fits in your
And
front
the
pocket.
cheapest in the fucking business. We were looking for a headphone sponsor for a long time. We reached out to Beats by Dr. Dre, and they said, no dice. We're not giving you a fucking promo code. Raycon did. Go to buyraycon.com/Drinkin Bros today. And they said, hey, man, we'll give you 15% off. We'll knock these bitches down to $65. That's it. They're the best in the biz. Dan, you wear them all the time. They're a lot of shit.
I do, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I love them, man. If you're running in the gym, they give you 1 million rubber pieces for your ears, too. So now, no matter how big or small your ear hole is, you're totally good. You're totally fucking good. Go to buyraycon.com/Drinkin Bros today. You get 15% off headphones, wireless, tiny rechargeable box. They last longer than 6 hours. They're loud as shit. Last but not least during this little break is VinceroWatches.com. I'm holding it up right now. This is the blue steel, dude. Boom. Just came in the mail. I broke my other one. Full disclosure. I was partying. fell down a
You were
mountain.
partying, huh?
I was partying in Austin, Texas.
partying.
Was partying in Austin, Texas with Austin Malone, a.k.a. Post
Richard.
Malone. And, I broke my
Austin
fucking watch.
Post.
Malone.
Nope.
I broke my fucking watch.
Austin Maloney.
Yeah.
Richard Austin Post is his name.
Richard Austin Post. He goes by Austin. That's all I know.
Yep.
We got House. The blue steel watch, though, I reordered. Thank you. It's VINCERO watches.com. That's VINCERO watches.com.
Yeah, they're dope.
Promo code Drinkin Bros gets you 15% off these watches. They get a bunch of them, man. Rubber grip. Fucking steel. This shit's it's the best in the business. Heavy as fuck. And I love these guys. I love these watches. Thank you for sending me this. I just need to get it sized because I broke my old one.
A-Lo
And I
says,
apologize.
Just tuning in over in Kabul, Bernie makes less sense in this deployment. I am sure that is true, my man.
Yes, it is. A-Lo.
And then
A-Lo.
Fliver or Fliver, however you say his name, you can vote your way into socialism, but you'll have to fight your way out. That's a good quote.
Yeah. I just if there's anybody out there, Bernie Bros included, tell me one country in which socialism has actually worked, and then
I knew that. It's Venezuela.
Yeah,
What?
They're doing great.
I mean, it
these
worked
days.
for the people who run the country.
Well, I mean,
they're all billionaires
If
now.
you're driving the car that's running the citizens over, you know.
Oh boy! Somebody asked if I'm worried about the travel ban. No, I'm not. I just got off a flight. You did too.
I've been in the
We've
last
been flying-
3
we've been
weeks
flying like
between
5
the three of
times.
us in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
3 weeks.
We've
We've
been
been in
everywhere.
like fucking 50 cities. Who cares?
Yes, all of us have flown. I think
Yeah.
total 20 times this month.
Yeah.
Between the three of us, and no, everything is fine. And I'm going to praise the airlines.
They're doing a good job.
They're doing great.
fucking
They started
hate the
these
airlines.
cleaning crews that come on after every flight and
Correct.
sanitize the whole thing. Yeah, they're
Yes.
doing a great job.
And
right
now that I'm really famous with all of Southwest's flight attendants.
Oh, yeah.
Best troll ever, by the way. Best troll you've ever done in your entire life. Once again, we'll cut back in as soon as the commercials are over at
I gotta
CNN.
pee.
We'll cut back into the debates. But yeah, man, look, the airlines have surprisingly done a decent job. And if you're trying to go somewhere right now and you're not, look, if you're not over 60, I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and if you're, I mean, I would be careful
Illinois and
if you're going to
Florida
be
will
around.
cast their votes in the Democratic
There we
primary.
go. We're back
Here's
in.
Univision's Ilya Calderon.
We're back
Thank
in.
you, Jake.
Oh, it's Univision.
Let's move now to foreign policy. Senator Sanders.
Why?
There are
Why?
about
Oh, that's their
1.5
voters.
million Cuban Americans living in Florida right now.
Florida.
Why would they vote for you when they hear you praise a program of Fidel Castro, a dictator who jailed, tortured, and killed thousands of Cubans?
Was it treasured?
I have opposed
Treasured?
authoritarianism, whether it's in Cuba, whether it's in Saudi Arabia, whether it's in China, or whether it is in Russia. That is my life record. I believe, unlike the President of the United States,
Russia,
in
where
democracy,
I went
not authoritarianism
on my honeymoon.
For a
in
honeymoon.
Cuba or
Bernie
any
went to
place
Moscow
else.
on his honeymoon. That's real, by the
What
way.
I believe right now in this world is that we are faced with a global crisis and a movement toward authoritarianism. That's what Putin in Russia is leading. That's what MBS in Saudi Arabia is leading. And as President of the United States, unlike Donald Trump, I would put the flag down and say that in this country and in this world, we have got to move toward democracy and human rights. That is my view and has always been my view.
To be clear, Senator Sanders, Cuba has been a dictatorship for decades. Shouldn't we judge dictators by the violation of human rights and not by any of their alleged achievements?
I like human rice.
Well, I think you can make
Human
the same
rights is
point about China.
delicious.
China is undoubtedly an authoritarian society. Okay? But would anybody deny, any economist deny, that extreme poverty in China today is much less than what it was 40 or 50 years ago? That's a fact. So I think we condemn authoritarianism, whether it's in China, Russia, Cuba, any place else. But to simply say that nothing ever done by any of those administrations had a positive impact on their people would, I think, be incorrect.
Vice President Biden, you have criticized Senator Sanders for praising Castro's education system. But in 2016, President Obama said Cuba made, quote, a great progress in educating young people, and that its healthcare system is a huge achievement that they should be congratulated for. How is that different from what Senator Sanders has said?
He was trying to change Cuban policy so the Cuban people would get out from under the thumb of the Castro and his brother. that is to change the policy so that we could impact on Cuba's policy by getting them opened up. That was about. But the praising of the Sandinistas, the praising of Cuba, the praising just now of China. China is an authoritarian dictatorship. That's what it is. We have to deal with them because they're there. But the idea that they, in fact, have increased the wealth of people in that country,
Somebody said
it's
Bernie
been
was turning up
marginal,
his
the
hearing
change
aids.
that's taken
Does he-
place.
does he
It
wear
is
them,
still,
and
they
can
have
you
a
confirm
million
that?
Uyghurs, a million Muslims in prison camps in the West. You see what's happening in Hong Kong today. And by the way, the idea that he praised the Soviet Union when it was the Soviet Union about the things that they had done well. They're an awful
Bernie's trying to
dictatorship
change
killing
his stance.
millions and millions
Going
of people.
arms behind
and
his
in
back
addition
like
to that,
to try
we
to
have a
get rid of that
circumstance
hunch.
where after the election
Somebody
was
told
all
him that
over
during the
and we
commercial
knew
break.
what,
I don't care.
was
Get off
done
the
by-
copy-paste.
by
Great.
the Russians now in interfering with our elections, this man voted against sanctioning Russia for interference in our elections.
Senator
I don't
Sanders?
get it.
I don't understand why
Well,
you
what you
can't
don't
say
get, and this is
factual
exactly
shit
what the
about
problem
Russia
with politics is
and
about. All right, question.
Cuba. You know what I mean?
Did China make progress in ending extreme poverty over the last 50 years? Yes or no?
That's like saying Jack the Ripper.
No, it's not,
right.
Joe.
Yes,
you see,
it
Joe,
is.
this is the problem.
Yes, it is.
This is the problem. We can't talk. I know
agree
there's a
with Bernie
political
here.
line. I understand. China's terrible, awful, nothing ever good, Russia, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, China, of course, is an authoritarian society. That's what I just said.
It's a dictatorship.
That's what I just said 5 minutes ago, you know? And by the way, you know, the question that was asked quoted Barack Obama. President Obama was more generous in his praise of what Cuba did in healthcare and education than I was. I was talking about a program 60 years ago in the first year of the Castro revolution. So the bottom line is that I think it's a little bit absurd if we're going to look at the world the way it is. Of course we are opposed to authoritarian. And by the way, you know, before it was considered good policy, good idea. I was condemning the dictatorship in Saudi Arabia when a lot of other people in Washington I was condemning the dictatorship in the UAE. You were not.
Thank you, Senator
Yes, I
Sanders.
was.
Vice President Biden.
By the way, the
Look,
first thing Saddam
the
Hussein did when he
idea
came
of
into power
occasionally
was
saying
invest in
something
education
nice
and hospitals.
about a country.
It's what you do. It doesn't
The
make
idea
investing
of
in
praising
hospitals
a
and
country that is
education
violating
like
human
intrinsically
rights
bad.
around the world
It just means it's
is in fact
a method
makes
that dictators
our
often
allies
use.
wonder what's going
That's it.
on. What do you think the South Koreans think when he praises China like that? What do you think? What do you think the Australians believe in the shadow of China?
Biden
what do you
won
think's
the election
happening
tonight,
in
by the way.
Indonesia
He won the
in the
primary
shadow of
tonight.
China? What do you
Feels
think
like
is happening in
By
terms of
not
Japan in the shadow of China?
getting mad.
Words
Yeah.
matter. These are flat out dictators. Period. And they should be called for it.
If he
straight
gets
up.
Michelle Obama,
we may have to work
that
out.
could
For
be a
example,
fucking
I was
powerful
able to help
ticket.
negotiate a new START agreement with Russia. Not because I like
Trump
Putin.
would have to get
The
Nikki
guy's
Haley.
a thug.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice President, sticking with foreign policy, you acknowledge that your support and vote for the Iraq War was a mistake. What lessons did you learn from that mistake, and how might those lessons influence your foreign policy decision-making as president?
I learned I can't take the word of a president when, in fact, they assured me that he would not use force. Remember the context. The context was the United Nations Security Council was going to vote to insist that we allow inspectors in to determine whether or not they were, in fact, producing nuclear weapons or weapons of mass destruction. They were not. And what's the first thing that happened when we got elected? The President Obama turned to me and said, get those troops out of there. I was responsible for getting 150,000 combat troops out of Iraq.
Yeah.
I admitted 14
It took until
years ago was a
2011.
mistake to have trusted him. And I'm prepared to compare my foreign policy credentials
someone's
up
right.
against my
Biden's
friend here.
wearing
on
the
any
flag.
day of the week,
Bernie
and
is
every
not.
day of the
Let's
week.
start off with the war in Iraq, Joe.
Interesting.
I was there too. I was in the House. I understood. And by the way, let's be clear about what that vote was. And you were there at the signing ceremony with Bush. Everybody in the world knew that when you voted for that resolution, you were giving Bush the authority to go to war. And everybody knew that's exactly what he and
got one
Cheney
lower, I guess.
wanted to do. Most people who followed that issue closely understood that the Bush administration was lying through its teeth with regard to Saddam having weapons of mass
I have the
destruction.
benefit of
I
not
understood
having
that.
teeth.
I was on the floor of the House time and time again. But the issue is not just
put
the
the other
war in
angle
Iraq.
back
That
in.
was a long time ago. The issue is the trade agreement. It wasn't so easy for me to lead the effort against disastrous trade agreements. The issue was the bankruptcy bill that you supported. The issue was the Hyde Amendment. The issue is the Defense of Marriage Act. The issue is whether or not in difficult times, and God knows these are difficult times, we're going to have the courage to take on powerful special interests and do what's right for the working families of this country.
Why did you vote not to sanction
the
Russians?
You know why? Because that had you keep talking about Iran. That was tied to Iran. Russia was in Iran. I think John Kerry indicated his support for what I did. That was undermining the Iranian agreement. That's why.
Not true.
That's why. And that's the only reason why. I have condemned Russia time and time again.
Vice President Biden?
The fact is that the idea
that pin Bernie's wearing looks like
in fact, supported the things that he's suggesting. It's not accurate.
Pin.
Look, I'm the guy that helped put together the
American
Iran
flag,
deal
though.
and got the inspectors in there. That was my chief of staff was the guy, my foreign policy guy,
if you're
doing
on
that
camera,
negotiation.
Though, for this long,
I was the
agree
guy
with
that helped
Jared.
put together a 60-nation organization to take on the ISIS in Iraq
Everybody
and
in the
Syria.
world is watching this.
I've dealt with these folks.
And it's just one more thing.
And I know what they're like. And I know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. The fact is,
look, Biden is clearly
Bernie's
won
notion
this, and he's not as
about how
punchy
he
as I thought he'd be
embraces
tonight, to be honest
folks
with you.
like the Sandinistas
I thought
and
for sure
Cuba
it would
and
be a
the
fucking
former
disaster
Soviet Union
for him, and it
and
is
talks
not
about
so
the good
far.
things they did in China is absolutely contrary to every message we want to send the rest of the
Senator
world.
Sanders?
I have led the effort against all forms of authoritarianism, including America's so-called allies in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia, and in fact, as you may know, worked with conservative Republicans to utilize for the very first time the War Powers Act to get the United States
Didn't
out
Bernie
of the
vote
horrific
for
war
that bill
in Yemen
that
led
sent
by
money from
Saudi
the United
Arabia?
States
That's
to the
what I did.
UAE and then to fucking Hamas
So my
and
view
Palestine?
is that in
Like,
a
get the
world
fuck outta here,
moving
man.
toward authoritarianism, the United States has got to be the leader where people all over the world look to us
Thank you, Senator.
for guidance.
Thank you,
Bernie
gentlemen. I want
needed
to
a
change
big win
topics and
tonight,
ask each of you about some
and
of your
he is
vulnerabilities
not even
in
close.
this
We're-
election,
we're
starting with you,
13
Vice
minutes
President
left in
Biden.
this.
Senator
Yeah,
Sanders
he
has
needed
won
a
more of the
fucking
Hispanic
thunderous win
vote than
tonight,
you in several
and he
key
is
states so far.
way,
In fact,
way
he
behind.
doubled your support in California among Hispanics. He almost tripled it in Nevada. So why is your message not resonating with Hispanic voters?
Well, look, my message is resonating across the board. Every single state we've been in, there's been a significant turnout. In Virginia, turnout was up 70%. They voted for me. He didn't bring them out. I brought them out. And number two, look what's happened in Mississippi. Look what's happened in North Carolina. Look what's happened in Washington State. Look what's happened across the board. Why is it that I'm winning all those places? What's the reason? What's the reason? The reason is because they know I am a Democrat with a capital D who in fact believes that our base
D
is
for
the
dick,
base of the
bitch.
Democratic Party, which are hardworking men and women who are in
Check out
fact
my
are
hog.
high school
Biden
educated,
laying that
African Americans
dong
and
out
minorities,
there,
including
letting the people
Hispanics, but all
see
minorities,
that dong.
suburban women, people who in fact have a sense of our place in the world. That's why I am winning, not just winning, but overwhelmingly winning, not even close in these places.
Senator,
Well, you didn't
Senator
quite
Sanders,
win.
Senator Sanders, let me just
I'm sorry.
follow up with you about an issue that you're having. For the second consecutive presidential election, you're struggling to gain wide support from African Americans. Why is your message not resonating with African American voters?
Here is what I believe is happening, and this is an important point, and why I decided to
Those
run
are
for
weird
president.
questions.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well, but
imperative
true.
that we defeat Trump.
It's true.
I think our campaign of a biracial, bigenerational, multi-generational grassroots movement is the way to do it. Now, we have won some states. Joe has won more states than I have. But here's what we are winning. We are winning the ideological struggle, even in states like Mississippi, where
does
Joe
that
won a
mean?
major victory.
What does that mean?
Turns out that a pretty good majority of the folks there believe in Medicare for all. And that's true in almost every state in this country. And the other issue that we don't talk enough about is we are winning the generational struggle. Depending on the state, we're
what
winning
does that
people
have to do with
50
black
years
voters,
of age or
like she
younger.
just asked?
Big
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
people
Why
30
he's
years
struggling
of
with
age
black
and younger.
voters. Yeah.
I frankly
not answering
have my
this
doubts.
question
Look,
filibustering
I
right
lose
now.
this thing.
Yeah.
Joe wins. Joe, I will be there for you. But I have my doubts.
I'll be there for you, Joe.
About how you win
He's
a
rubbing his
general election
shoulders.
against Trump will be a very, very tough opponent unless you have energy, excitement, the largest voter turnout in history. And to do that, you are going to have to bring young people who are not great voters. They don't vote in the kinds of numbers they should into the political process. You're going to have to bring Latinos,
because
who
all
are
the young
great
voters came
people
out for
of the
Bernie.
agenda that we
all
need,
the African American
but
voters
also
came
don't
out for
vote in
Biden.
the numbers that we need.
That is
I
the
have my
problem,
doubts
and the Bernie Bros are
that,
not going to come
But
out for
Latino-
Vice
Biden
President
in
Biden's
November.
campaign
Latino
can
people didn't show
generate
up for anybody.
that energy and
You don't
excitement
have
and
to
that
show an
voter
ID
turnout.
card.
I will do that. And
go
by the
anywhere if
way,
you want.
just get this straight. The energy and excitement that's taken place so far has been for me. 70% turnout increase in Virginia. I can go down the list. They're coming out for me, and I didn't even have the money to compete with this man
true. He
in
had
those
nothing,
states.
no money.
I virtually had no money. The press
like
kept
$9
saying
million.
Biden has no money, and they were right. Biden had no money. And the idea, why are they doing that? The reason they're doing that is because they understand I know what has to happen, that I know what needs to be done. And by the way, the idea that everybody supports Medicare for all, he still hasn't indicated how much it's going to cost people. He's yet to know exactly what's going to. So here's my point: people don't know the detail at all, and the fact is, I am winning overwhelmingly among Democratic constituencies across the board.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We're going to be right back with more from the CNN Univision Democratic presidential debate. Stay right.
So what I'm surprised with after this line of questioning is why Bernie doesn't go after the fact that you don't have any money. That means you have no support. The young demographic is not going to vote for you. My supporters are not going to come out and vote for you.
Yeah, but Bernie just kind of betrayed his own position. The fact that his biggest pool of support comes from young people and they don't vote. He just said those two things.
They
back to back.
also don't research.
No.
No. So it's like he just said like, "Hey, I'm fucked." By the way.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I think so. After tonight, because again, the big headline after this is going to be both of them said they would pick a female candidate.
Yeah, who's it going to be?
And Biden trapped Bernie into that, which was smart.
Mm-hmm.
If Bernie
could go with
if Biden goes
Tulsi
with
Gabbard though, like he doesn't just have to stick with
Elizabeth
those,
Warren. He does. You're right about that. But if Biden goes with Michelle Obama, that is a really, really difficult ticket. At this point, if you can't contain the coronavirus, and by the way, we are Trump here on this show. We vote for Trump and all that shit.
I don't.
You don't.
I
You
vote
don't
for
anybody.
myself.
You vote for Thanos.
Well,
Thanos 2020.
Usually I brought my own name in, but this year I will be voting for Thanos, yes.
Correct. If he goes somehow is able to convince Michelle Obama to be his VP, that is a very, very, very tough ticket to beat. And I think that would force Trump to get rid of Pence and have to go with Nikki Haley.
I don't
which
see.
I said on the show
Yeah,
yesterday.
I don't see any scenario where Pence is the VP candidate. To be honest, in this
Now,
next one.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, because the oddest thing is we had a Congressman Adam Kinzinger on Kinzinger.
Yeah, you
on
may
the-
have seen his episode earlier today.
Yeah, earlier today, and my prediction was that he was going to pick Nikki Haley on the day that the Democratic nominee was announced and going to give their speech. Right? I think after tonight, he almost doesn't have a choice because the only demographic that Trump is not currently polling well with is white women in suburbia, and he's going to need a woman in there to say, "See, look what I did! I brought a woman into the White House."
But it just so happens that Nikki Haley is not Sarah Palin. She is a very well qualified and very smart woman.
She could be president.
She's not a fucking former beauty queen.
She's brilliant. Yeah,
like she is a very smart woman. She was the ambassador to the United Nations for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think it would be a great choice. And Trump then, of course, he loves to take credit for everything. But he could say, "Hey, I put the first female VP in the White House," and I think that would be a very powerful thing to be able to put on your record because there has been other. I think Mondale, correct me if I'm wrong, put a
female
a female on the VP ticket, and it didn't work. But now I think you're almost stuck into that, and you will have Biden to thank for this, ladies out there, because I think now Trump is going to have to do this. Biden will certainly do it. If he puts Michelle Obama on there, though, that is a fucking massive
That's a hard
Trump
one.
card. Yes, yeah.
She is wildly popular amongst establishment Democrats.
So her
and
book,
she could absolutely get elected president in 2024.
Yeah, that would be a super strategic
she
move.
could have gotten possibly elected now had she been running all along. Her memoir,
I'm looking at your guys' comments, weirdo.
by the way, Becoming, is the highest selling memoir in the history of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, our book, Thank You for My Service, beat it, and we were ahead of her, and that's fine and all. But you can't argue with how many books she sold and how popular she is. She was selling out arenas around the United States for a fucking book tour.
Yeah, Robert Moreno is saying Michelle Obama solidifies the African-American Democrat vote and
Correct.
the woman Democrat vote.
Yep.
That still doesn't lose much, in his opinion. He still think independent voters go Trump. So, yeah, what are the numbers there at that point?
So, Robert, I'll say this to you. I think if the economy is able to rebound after the coronavirus and Trump beats it,
Looks like there's no class. I'm definitely going to switch to Arm & Hammer.
Let's return to where we began. The coronavirus.
That is so much
which does
louder
not
than it was
discriminate
before.
based on ideology.
What
It
just
does not
happened?
care if one is a Democrat or a Republican, a conservative, a moderate, or a progressive. Senator Sanders, let me start with you. What's your closing message tonight for those who are concerned about, affected by, or dealing with the coronavirus?
Well, our hearts go out to everyone. We need to move aggressively to make sure that every person in this country who has the virus, who thinks they have the virus, understands they get all the health care that they need because they are Americans, that we move aggressively to make sure that the test kits are out there, that the ventilators are out there, that the ICU units are out there, that the medical personnel are out there. But Jake, if I might also say that in this moment of economic uncertainty, in addition to the coronavirus, it is time to ask how we get to where we are. Not only our lack of preparation for the virus, but how we end up with an economy where so many of our people are hurting at a time of massive income and wealth inequality. It is time to ask the question of where the power is in America. Who owns the media? Who owns the economy?
The left.
Who owns the legislative process?
Liberals.
Why do we give tax breaks to billionaires and not raise the minimum wage? Why do we pump up the oil industry while 500,000 people are homeless in America? This is a time to move aggressively, dealing with the coronavirus crisis, to deal with the economic fallout, but it is also a time to rethink America and create a country
Geraldine
where we
Ferraro.
care about each other,
That's who it was.
rather than a
Thank you,
nation
Joe
of
Ferguson.
greed and corruption, which is what is taking place among the corporate elite.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Vice President Biden, what's your closing message tonight for those concerned
Hogs
about
out 2020.
affected by or dealing with this virus?
Number one, as I said at the outset, I just can't imagine what people are going through right now who have lost someone already. I can't imagine what people are going through when they have a mom. Like, for example, a good friend of ours is sitting outside a window of a nursing home where her mom is because she can't go in, trying to do sign language to her mom and through the window to be able to talk to her. I can't imagine the fear I guess I can't imagine the fear and concern people
I
have.
can't imagine the fear that I'm trying to
Pandering
I think we
begins.
have to
trying to
understand
fear monger right
is
now.
that this is
Pander,
an all
pander,
hands on deck.
pander.
This is, as someone said, maybe it was you, Jake, at the
How
outset.
many total
this is
deaths
bigger
stand in
than any
America so
individual.
far from coronavirus?
This is
like
bigger
60
than
maybe?
yourself. This is about America. This is
60
about.
over.
Yeah, well,
They're
here's
on
the
my
thing.
bookie, though.
They say
This is about how
say
we bring
the-
people together
the
and make the kind
whole
of
threat
sacrifices
is
we need to make to get
overflooding
this
the medical
done.
system in the
And so
country.
first and
Yet we just
foremost,
told
what we
them the
have to
virus
do
is breaking out
start
that
to
has
listen to the
symptoms like you
science
have a
again.
cold.
Yeah.
As I said, what
You
we
just
did,
sent
we
fucking
met, and what I'd be
60%
doing
of
today,
America
I'd be
to the
sitting
doctor.
down
And they're
in
talking,
a situation
they're
room
talking
literally
shit to
every
Trump
day
for
like we
saying
did
that
at
only
the
people
outset
who
of
really
other
need to
crises we had
go,
when we were in the
only
White
people
House.
who really need to get
And
tested will get
pulling together
tested.
the best people,
No, everybody
not just the
should be
United States,
tested.
the
No,
world, and say,
no,
what
everybody
is
shouldn't
it-
be
What
tested.
are the prescriptive
fucking idiot.
moves we have to take now to lessen this virus, to beat it, to go to the point where we can save more lives, get more people tested, get more people the kind of care they need? And then what do we do beyond that to make sure that the economic impact on them is in fact
What is the death toll in Italy right now?
rendered harmless? that we, in fact, make sure every paycheck is met. Every paycheck that's out there that the people are going to miss, that we keep people in their homes. They don't miss their mortgage payments. They don't miss their rent payments. Making sure that they're going to be able to take care of
in the last
education.
24 hours?
And by the way, the education institutions are closing down right now.
Total.
And so there's so many things we have to do. And in addition to that, what we have to do is we have to have the best science in the world to telling us what can stay open and what need be closed. Like I said earlier, the idea that we're closing schools, which I understand, but not being able to provide lunches for people who, in fact, need the school lunch program to get by. The idea that we would close any place
in the last
that
24
I can
hours.
understand
So
the decision made to
So
close
we're a week behind
places where
Italy.
100 or 50 people or more gather. But how do you keep open the drugstore to make sure you can get your prescription? How do you deal with the things that necessarily have to be
even
kept
Adam
going?
said,
And
we'll
what's
see
the
what
way to
happens
do
this
that?
week.
There should be a national standard for that. It should be coming out of the situation room right now. And by the way, the single most significant thing we can do to deal with the larger problem down the road of income inequality is get rid of Donald Trump. Donald Trump. He's exacerbated every single one of
He's
these
a
problems,
golem.
both the immediate urgent
We
need
have to take him
and
down.
how we're going to hold people harmless for the damage done as a
Why
consequence
does he keep saying
of this
harmless?
virus. It's important we do both.
Vice President Biden, Senator Sanders, we want to thank you both for being here tonight under these challenging and trying circumstances. We wish both of you the best.
Let's see if they
Our thanks as
keep
well
this in
to our
full screen.
partners
Let's see
at
if they hug.
Univision. For Ilya Calderon and Dana Bash, I'm Jake Tapper. Thank you
I'd be
so much
curious
for
if they
watching.
dap
Please
or
stay healthy, stay safe.
they chest
Our coverage
bump.
of both tonight's debate and the coronavirus pandemic continues now with Anderson Cooper.
They don't do anything, huh?
Jake, thanks very much. There you have it, the CNN Univision Democratic debate. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and a third unwelcome player, the coronavirus. The candidates acknowledged it at the close of the debate in their final remarks, also at the very beginning, greeting each other with an elbow bump, not the usual handshake or hug, then stepped up to podiums that were a few extra steps
What did he say,
apart,
podiums?
6 feet apart to be
Podiums.
exact. Chris?
Right, and then we saw some moments where these two gentlemen seemed to be
These are the
alone,
worst two human beings on
about the
earth right
pandemic
now. You
and
throw
how to
Don Lemon
address
in this
it.
group, and all three of them should be fucking thrown into the water.
Fired out of a
Yeah,
cannon
just
into a
shut
brick
the
wall.
fuck up.
Yeah.
So wait, is this? I want to know if these figures are real. They're saying somebody's saying China lied, and there's estimated 300,000 deaths and 3 million infected. Yet right after that, somebody comes out and says China is down to 9,000 cases. You're saying they're down to 9,000 cases from 3 million? Where the fuck are people getting this information?
They're not, and that's the problem when you have a communist country where you're not getting honest stats. And this is the problem that I have with climate change and everything else that Bernie and Biden are trying to cure all. We're going to do this and we're going to do this and hold China accountable. You're not. You can't hold them accountable for a disease. You can't hold them accountable
unless that
for
accountability
pollution.
is a missile. Like that's all. That's it.
You don't know what's going on over there.
Are the Bernie Bros ready to be drafted?
Yeah, they control the internet. They control the people. Like we don't know what's going on over there.
Let's stop this for just a second. How many people do either one of you know that have contracted the coronavirus personally?
Zero. Yeah.
And anybody in
And
the
we
audience?
we have Drinkin Bros, which is 106,000 people. We do not
108
have
now, actually.
we do not have a confirmed case inside the group.
We have 8.2 million listeners currently. We don't have one listener who has written in and saying, "Hey, I have the coronavirus. Here's what's going on." 8.2.
And we know-
there's 338 million people in America.
Yeah. This group of people, we know people all over the world. I just haven't heard of anyone that's...
Yeah, somebody's saying China's industry is starting back up.
It started back up a week and a half ago, guy.
It did.
And that was after the Chinese New Year, which here's what happens. For those of you who don't work in the manufacturing industry or do sales of T-shirts or hats or anything like that, the end of January, third week or so of January, there's a Chinese New Year. All the manufacturing people fucking bolt, and only about 40% of those workers come back. So they have new workers that come in that they have to retrain. It's a whole shit show every single year, right? This year, it got delayed by about a month by this.
Right.
So China, with their fucked up, like if you don't know about China, it's not like the United States where you can just go to a hospital somewhere. There's on the eastern coast, there's a lot of industry, or there's a lot of urban areas and stuff. But most of the western part of the country is the hinterland. Like it's the Wild West out there.
Sure.
It's not like fucking built up cities and shit like that like you see in Beijing and all these places on the East Coast. It's way different.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, they're starting back up Chinese basketball as well.
Are they really? So
Yes.
let me ask you this. End of the debate. Granted, like, we don't side with the Democrats, but who do you think won, Jared, tonight?
I mean, I think Biden kind of slammed him.
So do I. I had Biden by a wide margin. What about
Yeah,
you?
He did a better job at just answering questions.
Biden's biggest pitfall, the only way he could have lost his debate was by getting angry.
Yes.
Or seeming sluggish or aloof, and he didn't seem any of those things.
Or, with...
Like, the numbers are already on his side.
A cognitive disorder fully on display, and I don't think it was tonight. And as much as I would love to bash them, I can't. I thought his stance, I thought his answers, I thought everything he did to prepare for this debate was correct tonight. And for a guy in the lead, all you have to do...
Just play defense, yeah.
Yes, play defense and
His
stay in the
team
lead.
did a really good job of preparing him for this.
They did. They absolutely did.
Dorian, we appreciate you, but also this dude, Motorhead, because the first thing you do when you get it, you write into us. No, we would know. Because people would notify the group.
They would.
And
Yeah,
it would be a rally.
I don't know if we've ever said this on the show before, but on a weekly basis, there's about 75,000 engagements inside Drinkin Bros Maine.
Correct.
Right? Out of 108,000
It is the main
people.
page. It is private on Facebook, and you can join. The only rule
But,
is
I mean,
don't be a cunt. And
again,
everybody is
like-
honest about their situation.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to, hey, we're going off of a large 108,000 grouping of people. That's larger than most people have access to.
Yeah, if you
and they're all over the country.
If you do a political poll, usually it's somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 people to do a scientific data poll. That's how much it is to get a good. That's an opinion poll. It's obviously different than medical and shit like that.
Right.
But 108,000 people, that's a big enough poll, and a 320 million per or so.
And again, I've seen the admins do a number of things in the last 4 days, just saying, hey, anybody yet? Like we're data mining.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
Melissa Smith says, "Am I the only one that thinks maybe we've all already had it?" No, I don't think you're wrong about that. I think that most people have probably already processed it. Because 80% of people show either mild cold or no symptoms at all.
And people ignore that.
Yeah,
they do.
Like I
They
ignore
take
it.
Dayquil.
They do.
Or nothing. Shit. Unless I'm fucking bedridden, I don't take anything.
No,
for
same.
a cold. Come on.
And by the way, if you're new to this channel, new to Drinkin Bros podcast, you can subscribe on iTunes or Spotify or anything else. We don't care who you voted for. We truly want the best for this country, whatever the best decisions are. That's why we enjoy watching the Republican debates in 2016. We enjoy watching the Democratic debates in 2020. We want to be informed, no matter who is president at the end of this in November. We want to be informed with whoever that person is. We welcome the debate. We welcome your comments. And you are more than welcome to join the group, join us, and have a friendly, spirited debate with us, because we don't care. That's what a democracy is, and that's what the beauty of a democracy is.
Yeah.
If you're on Twitter going back and forth with people saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, what does that actually solve?
Yeah, you're an
Because at the
asshole.
end of the day, on November 3rd, there is going to be a winner right around midnight. And either you can go against them, you can march, you can fucking put on pussy hats and do whatever you want, not go to work the next day, or you can support the president of the United States because you are an American, and that's what you should do. So that's why we do things like this periodically from time to time.
Johnny Toast just asked, "What's the stats on active duty military infected?"
I've only heard of one Marine that was a confirmed case so far.
I mean, that seems like it would be the most at-risk group of people.
I would think
Because
so
they're
too, right?
all over the fucking place. And
Yeah.
not only are they personally all over the place, but military bases in general, you have people coming in and out of the country all the time, whether it's foreign soldiers or anything. Remember, this stuff was going on for a month before any kind of travel ban or any kind of restriction was in place.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but most people, men and women who are serving, aren't wearing face masks.
No.
While they're out there.
They're also not
serving,
getting
right?
furloughed. They're not working from home.
Right.
The 82nd Airborne Infantry is not working from home right now. They're cutting grass with a fucking pair of child scissors right now.
Yeah.
And getting yelled at.
Well, this dude's asking, what's your take on the Navy being stuck on ship in close quarters with this going around? Well, it's isolation.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's either A, somebody has it on there and they have to keep it on the boat,
Isolated.
or B,
Same with
they're
cruise
all
ships.
healthy
Same with
and they
cruise
have to
ships,
wait.
yeah.
Yeah, they have to wait. Like, I'm
God
sorry,
damn
but I
it.
know this sparks a weird fucking human rights in the Constitution, but all that stuff kind of goes out the door when a deadly virus is being spread. Like,
It is.
and you were affected. Like, we're not gonna let you have your rights, so you could endanger 333 million people.
Yeah.
Taylor DiMarino just said Patterson Holloway again and again.
Again, yeah.
Spelled my fucking name wrong.
Well, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. Kenny Cabb said something interesting here. He said Michelle Obama has stated numerous times that she has no interest in running for president or vice president. I have heard that as well.
I don't believe that shit for a second.
Well, here's the thing. She was caught on a hot mic a few years ago when she was in office as the first lady, if you want to call that an office, with the prime minister, the former prime minister of France's wife saying, God, I hate this.
Yeah.
Because of this, the travel schedule, the appearances, everything you have to do over and over and over again. Yep. I tend to side with him on this. She never seemed like she wanted to do this. I
don't think she's ambitious for it, but I think if Biden and the DNC say, "Hey, we need you to win," then she'll do it. I think she's a loyal Democrat.
You think so?
Yes, I do, and I think their whole family are loyal. Democrats.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. Though, signing up for another 4 years, and then you're going to be pressed,
possibly 8.
Then you're going to be pressed to probably run.
Yeah, possibly 8, and then that would put your total at 16 years in the White House if that happened. And seeing what her husband went through and all the work that this entails and going around, it's like, man, do you really want to risk potentially 16 years of your kids? Because they've got 2 kids.
You know what? This dude just said something that I briefed to Adam recently that I was thinking too. The epidemic is government-backed media scare to gauge the public's reaction for preparation for disclosure.
What, for like aliens or something?
Well, no. I'm just saying what I had talked to Adam about. My theory, my personal theory, when this all came out was this wasn't crazy enough, to be a massive scare, but because the media latched on, the administration and the government kind of said, hey, let's run the drill.
Yeah.
Let's see how our systems work with this, because we're getting kind of a test. We're getting a test bed. So, okay, throw the money at it. Let's activate all of our systems. Let's see how publicly owned and privately owned organizations like the NBA and the NFL and MLB, let's see how everybody reacts. Because if this is for real and China sends us or somebody sends us a real bioweapon that's wiping people out in the hundreds of thousands in a matter of 72 hours, we've never tested that. We've never tested that.
Yeah, but I think we found out here something that we already knew, which is that nothing is more contagious than being a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Like, Americans are idiots. People are idiots. Like, a person is smart. It's like that thing I posted on Instagram the other day, that Men in Black thing. Mm-hmm. When Tommy Lee Jones is first telling Will Smith what's up. A person is smart, but people are dumb, irrational, panicky, and you know it.
That's
But to your point, I was in the airport in Atlanta at Hartsfield, biggest airport in the world, when the
power went out.
When the power went out. I was in that airport. I had just gotten off of my flight. 2 minutes later, the entire airport got shut down. All the lights went down. All the power.
Of the lights.
Exactly. Rihanna and Kanye. All the lights went out. All the power went out. They canceled all the flights, and everybody had to evacuate. And I think my statement on air was, back in the day on Ross Patterson Revolution, was it felt like a test to me of whether or not this many hundreds of thousands of people could take it. What would happen? Would it become Lord of the Flies and people breaking in and shit or whatever? And it wasn't. Everybody got out of there safely in a relatively harmless
Even
matter.
This hasn't been as bad, and maybe that's one of the lessons learned. Even this, with everybody buying up all the toilet paper and hand
but we still can't.
This isn't as bad as the L.A. riots were in '92. Like, the L.A. riots were way worse than what's going on right now. Yeah. And that was over nothing, really. Yeah. That was over anger. That wasn't even a fucking threat.
Don't know why toilet paper was the fucking
I've got a theory for that. Millennials eat ass so much that they're very concerned about their buttholes now. Like, why else would this be a thing?
Because, like I was saying, we're in Walgreens today. Everything in there is perfectly normal. Mm-hmm. They have canned goods. They've got wine. They've got
food
booze.
is all there. Yep.
Everything was there. You go to the paper towel, toilet paper aisle, gone.
Yeah,
I am in a family of 4 with 2 small boys, and I can tell you the first thing you think about is, oh my gosh, how many times is a family of 4 going to shit throughout the day, and how fast are we going to run out of toilet paper?
There's so many. Look, you can't make I can't
Meat.
look. I can't look in my
Canned
cupboard
goods.
and find protein if it's not there.
Right.
But I can jump in the shower and wash my butthole with water.
Yes.
Like
yes.
they're very easily. I
So
can do that.
the oddest thing was, so I immediately, my first thought was to go to dude wipes and baby wipes and things like that.
Yeah,
Gone.
of course.
So it was
but
about-
that's
it was about
but there's
8 left
there's still
that
a
we
very
grabbed,
easily
8
solution
packs.
to this.
Oh no!
Very great.
Everything that had to do with wiping was
It was
the
Correct,
only
yeah.
thing going.
But
and
every
hand
every
sanitizer,
every
obviously.
fucking human being that lives in a house in this country, their fucking shitter is right next to their shower. Mm-hmm. Right? Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Unless you're in public somewhere, that's different, obviously. But if you're in your own home, unless you have a half bathroom somewhere, and even in that case, you got a hole in somewhere.
Yeah.
You can wash your butthole off with water and soap.
By the
man.
way, guilty today. I don't know what we ate last night. My asshole was on fire.
We ate a lot of focaccia.
After the second shit, right into the shower.
What did you order?
I
You
was
ordered
gonna-
the steak
I
and
was
the
gonna-
Brussels
I was going to
sprouts.
save it, yeah, but I had a spicy marg at one of the restaurants. Went right into the shower and just, hey, I'm just going to wash this off. I'm not going to waste any toilet paper. As I was one of the people who only had like 12
Oh, no, I
rolls
do
left.
that. So when I'm in bed, I'm on record with this. In the morning when I wake up, I pound off 2 to 3 times before I even get out of bed.
Even get out of bed,
Right?
yeah.
And then if I'm like, oh, I got to take a shit, you know what I'll do? I'll shit, then shower immediately. That way my butthole's all pristine
Yes,
for the rest of the day.
Correct. I don't like to have a dirty butthole going
No.
throughout the day.
No, that's not a thing.
And I think, honestly, I really believe that some of this bullshit is all about people they're like, look, you don't know if you're going to meet somebody.
Yes, it's
Get
true.
your asshole eaten out.
It's true.
I need my butthole to be clean.
Same. Or if you're doing
confused.
69, you have a dirty
I'm
asshole in your face.
confused, yeah.
Over what?
I don't get the toilet paper thing.
You got to wipe.
No.
You got to wipe, brother.
Jared doesn't wipe, though.
Ah,
No.
do you go straight shower?
He's got a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you just angle the
Just got
fucking
one
thing
of them.
back,
I
it's
got
not-
one of them hoses from the sink. You know, the little squirter.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
they go
Well, I mean,
straight up
I
the
put a garbage
beehole.
disposal in my shower.
Yeah. You know the people who aren't having problems? Everybody who owns a bidet.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing for them. And they're just toweling off with a hot towel, not worrying about it. You know. Look, kids, we're going to do this periodically from time to time. We'll pop in for debates, live events. We were going to do it for sports.
We're gonna do a live show tomorrow.
We're
gonna do one Tuesday.
Yes.
Wednesday.
We will be here every
Thursday.
single day.
Thursday, we got some special.
We might
guests.
do two. We actually might do 2 live shows Thursday. So we have. Do you want to say?
Yeah.
Richard Stayskull's coming back.
Is he really?
And then
Yeah.
Natalie's coming
And then
back
his
for
attorney,
her own
yeah.
episode because she
Great.
just exposed 2 more crazy bills that are getting pushed through Congress. right now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we'll go live every single day this week. We understand that everything is entertainment, everything is at a shortage. Everything is canceled sports-wise across the board. Entertainment-wise, all your favorite TV shows are being canceled. And then every single major movie is being pushed until the end of this year or beginning of next, including Fast and Furious.
Well, they're not gonna put them out in the theater when
additionally-
nobody can go there. That would be a
Exactly.
huge
Exactly.
mistake.
Yeah.
Additionally, tomorrow we're going to be on the phone with Salt Lake about piping in the live feed from Salt Lake so we can war game with Evan and team on failures in prepping for something like this.
Okay.
So that'll be a good one.
Do they?
Like,
Can we go live with them at the same time? Do they?
yeah,
have the
because
equipment there now?
Zach is now working for Black Rifle.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot
so
about
they've
that.
got, they've got the whole kit.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we're going to be So they want to. He wants to have Trevor, a Navy SEAL. He wants to have a couple other people on their panel, and we are going to go down. Okay, what was your plan?
So basically, it'll be Drinkin Bros / Free Range American going live to talk about disaster preparedness
Yes.
Yes.
and keeping your butthole clean.
Yep.
Yes.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Which is the most important
Bring
part.
your toilet paper. Join us tomorrow afternoon. If you're not subscribed to Drinkin Bros podcast on the YouTube, please do so. Also, our audio show is available on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever podcasts are available. For Jared Taylor, D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. We are the Drinkin Bros. Good night, everyone, and thanks for joining us for the Democratic debates.